All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. I am your host. I'm sorry. Oh God. I am your host, Sauron, the Dark Lord of Mordor. This is the BlackGate podcast, episode 3. I forgot what exact
I think we're
title I gave it.
episode. I think we're episode 4 because I'm looking at the.
I think it's
the
4 because you guys already did Alien, Predator.
yeah, I think this is 4 because it even says in
Yeah.
the title of the thing is episode 4.
Yeah, it's 4. There's a reason. Okay. This wasn't gonna be so salty, but it's about to get salty because. Oh, God.
Everybody, get your waters now because you're gonna be thirsty in a minute.
Yeah, because
I got my
Oh
soda.
no! I need the liquor.
So just for the context here, this originally, like, since episode 2 onward, we did Predator, we did Alien, so I thought we continue the trend and get kind of like those big 80s action movies kind of knocked out of the way. So, what comes next after Alien and Predator? Terminator. Watch Terminator 1, great movie, fantastic. Terminator 2, perfect film. 3, Salvation is still a bit of but a bit of an improvement over 3, in my opinion. Genesis was absolute trash. I don't care what anybody says. That movie is terrible.
Terminator
However-
Genesis shit.
However, I will give it this. I got nothing. However, then I jumped to Dark Fate. Now, just for the bit of context, is that I saw Dark Fate back closer to when it came out, but I think I fell asleep during that movie because there was like parts of that. Because when I watch a movie, I tend to remember everything about it. Very rarely do I need to rewatch it to regain context. This was not the case with Dark Fate. Dark Fate, I watched it and I was like, "What the hell is this? What am I watching? What is this film?" And it didn't help that I was drinking quite a bit during that. And it just got worse and worse. And I was like, I can't. I agree with Megatron is that, like, I think Genesis is objectively worse. We'll get into that in a second. But it's not a big margin. It's not close. It's like, would you rather get bit by a snake, a venomous snake, or stung by a scorpion? Like, either way, you're kind of fucked. So, this is just as a heads up. This is gonna be a bit, at least when we get to Dark Fate, it's gonna be a bit saltier. When we get to Dark
they
Fate.
can't be a third option, like jumping off a cliff.
I mean,
the third option is don't watch either movie, but
I would say the third option is just letting Judgment Day hit
just
you.
stop
Let
at
them
like T2 or arguably I would say just stop at Terminator Salvation and just call it a day.
T2.
Or T2, either one.
T2 is probably because
That's a tough one.
yeah. Oh God, like
That's actually an interesting question. Like, where's the cutoff?
that's gonna be their question we answer at the end of this. This is, where's your cutoff for Terminator, and try your best not to just say T2. Like,
I'm actually not.
like, because that's gonna be the
This
obvious.
is gonna
like,
sound weird,
yeah.
but I feel like Dark Fate would have been so much better if John Connor and his mom were not in the movie. Like, if it was just some alternate Terminator story.
Yeah, that probably would have been a lot
And
better.
if they made the chick full lesbian too. I wanted my lesbian Kyle Reese, because I'm gonna say this, my favorite's Terminator. I got a crush on Kyle Reese. I'm sorry, I want him to save me. I like the sappy romance in the first movie.
Okay. I actually have some ideas on how woke Fate could have been better. All right, I shouldn't say that.
Oh,
I mean, it's probably
Crap Fate. Crap
it
Fate.
wasn't woke enough. It was not woke enough. If it was woke, she would have been a lesbian. Not this
well, for all we
weird
know, she could
bullshit
be.
that. No joke. My stepdad. My stepdad does this. Oh no, she met her as a kid. It's more like a mother-daughter relationship.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry. She kind of comes off more like she's crushing on her. She comes off more like soft boy Kyle Reese comes off more like she's crushing on Mexican Sarah Connor.
It's weird because, like, So it's okay. So just to be kind of like, just to be fair, it is still kind of weird for Kyle Reese to kind of come back in time and mac on Sarah Connor, given like the literal, he's literally like a whole generation or two after her.
Someone here.
But there's something strange
no
about him too.
Yeah, but there's no context of like, well, it's kind of weird, but there's no prior relationship between the two of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring this up. I'm gonna bring it up. Woke feminist type love to, if you've ever seen the video Stalking for Love, they love to do this. Oh, he's like a weird stalker. Yeah, no, guys, think about this. Kyle Reese was literally groomed as a child to be in love with Sarah Connor.
Yeah, I mean, that's not wrong.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't like everyone around him.
I don't want to say
no, it's like everyone around him is like, look at this photo. Look at this photo. She's so great. Isn't she so great? Look at this photo.
It was more so just John Connor doing that.
Yeah, I don't think
anyone else was
but
doing
it's
that.
like, it's like a weird form of grooming. It's like a weird, bizarre, like idea grooming. Like he's fantasized about this photo of this woman that he's never met.
But the thing is,
and it's like people have told him that she's amazing.
But
it's
here's
more
the
like
thing,
suggesting.
If I remember everyone,
because I rewatched the movie and there's really nothing that tells. Again, this is I'm going based on the movie. I don't know if there's any kind of expanded material that goes over it, but in the movie, that doesn't really say anything about like someone influenced him. Basically, he was like, I don't know. It's not so much as like people
I thought
convinced
they said
him
someone
of it.
gave him the photo.
I think John did.
Connor
after he like, I think it was like they got into a conversation about that, and then John gave him the photo after telling him.
He gave, if I remember again, I have the entire film. I have like the entire.
Oh my God, John grooms Kyle Reese to go back in time and fuck his mom. Hey, young boy, don't you want to fuck my mom?
So
I mean,
oh shit.
Here's the best way I can explain it. It's kind of like, so basically, he used the photo of his mother to inspire Kyle to keep fighting, and as time went on,
inspire
he
Kyle.
Developed. Because here's the other thing is that technically, okay, and this is probably where the entire Terminator series, even the first few movies, it gets weird because it's time travel. Because time travel is one of the most confusing things you can possibly do for any story. Is that technically, like, it's kind of like in John's case, he kind of has to. Like
he really doesn't have a choice.
He has to inspire Kyle Reese to fall in love with his mother, otherwise he doesn't exist. Like it's literally like, and I know in Salvation,
grooming to exist.
In Salvation, they kind of touch on that in the sense that like when Kyle Reese in that movie gets captured by Skynet, there's like, I have to save him. If he dies, I literally don't exist.
Yeah, he says if we go with this plan, we are all dead.
Yeah, like,
but like way more dramatically.
If he dies, I stop existing. All right, so we're gonna stick to the usual formula of kind of going from film to film.
Oh, one other thing, real quick, I just want to add to that. Also, even before they ever met in Salvation, Kyle Reese straight up idolizes John.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like when he realizes John Connor came all the way here to save him, he's like, "Oh shit!"
But to be fair, at that point, John was doing like his nightly radio rally cries.
Yeah, telling people how to get through
and
certain
basically
things.
like, and it was very clear that he may not have been the leader of the resistance, but he was like the people's leader.
Yeah,
like
he's the hero.
Basically, like he's the true
MVP.
So
and also,
oh my God. The alternate ending to Terminator Salvation is so fucked up, and I wish it was the alternate ending.
We're gonna get into that.
Yeah, that was when I saw that. I was like,
that was the ending.
Okay, so we'll start off. So first off, we got the Terminator series. Basically, story about. That's the best way to explain this story. You got the future war between humans and machines. The machines in the future get defeated, and the machines' last-ditch effort to kind of secure victory and secure the survival, they send a lone Terminator back in time to kill the mother of the person who would become their greatest enemy, and that woman is Sarah Connor. They send the T-800,
or also known as a down on her luck single woman meets two mysterious men who just can't get enough of her.
I mean, that's one way to describe it.
That is one way to look at it. Now that I think about
it, one of them is definitely trying to kill her.
So yeah, the original Terminator, 1984, and personally, Terminator 1 is my favorite of all of them, but that's only because I just have like a love for horror films. And while it's not a horror movie, it does have like horror elements to it.
I mean, a Terminator is basically a slasher villain with guns.
And it does have Bill Paxton in it.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah, and oh yeah, Bill Paxton, the only man to be killed by a predator, an alien, and a Terminator.
Yep.
But yeah, so you got the first
movie.
What's up?
The theme song, and the fact that there's a romance version of the theme song.
There's a romance. You mean like the Terminator theme?
Yes. In the movie when they're making love, there's like a romantic version of. Yes, I love it.
I thought you were talking about like a cover. No, you're right. There is like a
No.
Like in there in the motel, where basically John is conceived, pretty much. There's like a slow, like romantic version.
The romance version,
which is such a weird thing to say, but it is there.
I mean, to be fair, like, and again, this is. I'm kind of like on the vote of like, I love Terminator 1. I don't think it's better than Terminator 2, but I love it. However, I will say like the romance between like Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor, it does feel kind of like, I'll say kind of rushed to a degree.
Cheesy.
But to be fair, I'm not sure how you could do that without radically slowing down the movie.
And also, I will say this: it's like there's an actual thing. Like when you're in a life or death situation, it's like emotions just start flying, man. When you start getting chased by a
unkillable thing,
machine, yeah, it's like all right,
dude.
All right,
I will throw myself at the sexy hobo Kyle Reese. Take me, hobo Kyle Reese. There's a killer robot.
Yeah, you're not going to be concerned about being embarrassed or subtle when you've had a gun pointed at you constantly.
Yes, it's like Kyle Reese of all people bodyguarding you. I mean, come on, that's like heaven to some people. I'll say I can already see that being heaven.
He's an attractive homeless man.
What are you saying, man?
And also look at it. Look at it this way. Without even knowing, John Connor was doing the Chris Redfield thing before that was actually a thing.
He was.
Think about it.
Create my bloodline.
He was like, we have to preserve the Connor bloodline.
He didn't say preserve it. He said
bang my mom.
He didn't say preserve it. He said start it.
Started, you're right. Started. You gotta go back in time, bang my mom, Kyle. It's the only way we win this.
It still counts. It still counts. He was doing the Chris Redfield thing.
Imagine if John Connor, I'm just imagining Christian Bale's John Connor grabs Kyle Reese's slams and I'm gonna go back in time and do this. And John is like, you understand, you're my dad.
So it'll be funny. So like in the movies, like one of the plot points is that Kyle Reese can't know. Like he can't know because he can't let that influence his decisions, right? And so I can imagine like in the future when they're like walking around not fighting and they're in like a shelter, he sees some girl talking to Kyle, just flirting with him, but Kyle's not really paying attention. But John sees what's going on, so he quickly runs over and sends this chick to like the front lines or something. And it's like, we got word of a Terminator near the compound. Why don't you go investigate? But I'll die, That's too bad.
Oh my!
It's like we all gotta make sacrifices.
He was preserving the Connor bloodline.
Then everyone just ends up thinking John Connor's gay for Kyle Reese. It'd be like, hey guys, isn't he weirdly protective of him?
But see, that's the other thing.
Yeah, what?
It's so weird.
Why is he so mad whenever a woman talks to him?
Oh wow.
Well, because here's the other issue with that is that in the future timeline, John Connor's old enough to be Kyle Reese's father.
Yeah.
So now it takes on a whole nother context if you take that angle.
Oh God! Hey, I told him he was grooming him to fuck his mom, not grooming him for himself, but maybe he was like, "Hey, look at this picture of Sarah Connor. Isn't she hot? I mean, really hot? Don't you want to take this photo?" And
suggesting it.
Yeah,
would have been a great twist of Marty and Doc Brown.
No, they
were the ones playing the Terminator theme romance version while it was happening.
They're like Sebastian the Crab from Little Mermaid.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen to this.
Sarah Connor just starts taking her top off.
Oh, wow.
I'll just imagine Doc Brown's just covering Marty's eyes, like, no, but keep playing, though.
No, imagine if the Terminator found them at that moment.
Oh, I come back, found them.
Oh my God!
He just kicks the door open and just sees them, and it's just like. Because, like, this is another.
He's like, you really about to go to horny jail now?
Yeah, he has a shotgun in his hand, but he puts it down, and pulls out a baseball bat instead.
It's like, you're about to go to horny jail.
How does it go? Bonk mode initiated.
Bonk. Go to horny jail.
Bonk.
Loud. I'm gonna go to hell for that Arnold impression.
You probably are, but that's okay. You're taking us all with you.
But like, so yeah, you got the first turn. Oh, Jesus Christ, man! Like, it's kind of hard to talk about this because I still have Dark Fate fresh in my brain.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of things.
Again, giving you a huge salute for watching that again. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's like there's so many things that.
Can I bring up the real thing that sucks about Dark Fate? Yeah, and this is related to the first movie. In Dark Fate, the Terminator has a sexless marriage with a woman, and he says, Terminators can't have sex. No! The first fucking movie, Kyle Reese says they can have cockamamie sex!
He doesn't say that, but what my problem is, and this
it sounds like they have like all the anatomy there, so
remember the first movie where he walked into
if they can sweat, they can fuck.
Yeah.
So remember the second movie where he walked into the bar? Wow, this sounds like a dirty joke. And all the girls were looking down like,
did they at least have that going on?
He clearly has the anatomy for it. Okay, you know what? Screw this. We're about to switch things up. We're gonna rag on Dark Fate, and then
we'll just rag on Dark Fate.
We're gonna rag on Dark Fate because
let's talk about some good stuff before we get into the bad.
Because there's a lot of things that like happen in the previous movies that Dark Fate kind of like completely ignores just like shits on, and it's not even funny. Like, because I've said it already. Like Genesis, the way I see it, Genesis and Dark Fate, they're like two sides of the same coin. They're both terrible Terminator movies. However, another thing that I kind of realized after watching it is that both of these movies are basically reboots of Terminator. The catch is that Genesis is aware that it is a reboot. It's aware that it's a reboot, and it's letting the audience essentially know it's a reboot. It's not trying to pretend to be anything else. The fact that it starts with Kyle Reese going to the past and immediately changes from there. It's like, all right, this is a completely different movie. We're rebooting Terminator. However, Dark Fate has the fucking audacity to sit here and be like, oh no, we're the true sequel to Terminator 2, but in reality, it's a motherfucking reboot. And it's not even subtle about it.
And they basically shit all over the first two movies.
Like,
Okay, so we're talking about this now. Okay.
we're jumping straight to Dark Fate because there's so many things wrong with it that, especially in watching the past,
it's connected to the
highlighted. Well,
You know?
it supposedly negates everything after T2, but it doesn't help because a lot of the stuff in Dark Fate comes from the other Terminator movies.
3.
Can we just talk about how lame?
Okay, I will give T. Can I give Dark Fate one compliment besides Soft Boy Kyle Reese? Besides Soft Boy,
because I have a
Kyle
compliment
Reese
for it too. Actually,
I liked the robot. I liked how the
yes.
robot could split into two. I
thought that
because
was
I felt in 3. In 3, in 3, I was like, okay, it's a Terminator with the liquid skin, and they didn't really do anything with. Oh, her boobs got bigger. But in Dark Fate, it felt like, oh, that's how you do the Terminator with the skeleton and the liquid skin. It can split apart.
Right. So yeah,
like,
I will say that
I like that.
I'll give some positives. One, that first fight scene between the Rev 9 and what's her face, that was a cool fight. I will admit that was a pretty cool fight.
The movie
I thought it was.
The movie gets bad when Sarah Connor shows up. It should have been its own thing. It really should have been its own thing.
But here's the thing: they probably
thing
saw
should
that
have been
no one was
lesbian
paying
Terminators
attention when with the trailers.
Lesbianators.
So they probably thought, "Oh crap, we got to bring in the original cast to bring people in." Because if you remember the commercials, they barely showed the new cast except for the Terminator because it was actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
But they showed more of Arnold and Sarah, and they were barely in it. It was just
because
bad. It shows how much faith they had in the movie, which was none.
Because again, these two movies, Genesis and Dark Fate, they're very similar in the sense that like they're trying to reboot the franchise, but they're also trying to pander with nostalgia. However, Genesis, again, it's not good, but it's at least somewhat self-aware of it. To where Dark Fate, it does all these small changes, and it's trying to be. It's so. Like all the little changes are so insignificant. It's like there's no way they weren't aware that people would not see how blatant it is. Like, they're not T800s, they're Rev 9s. Like
that
it's
was
the same
so.
fucking thing.
I'm
not
gonna
Skynet. It's Legion. Well,
I'm gonna say this.
It's a military. It's a military super AI that went rogue. So it's Skynet. It's the same thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this. I don't like the Rev 9 thing for two reasons. One, you just brought up. Two, it's basically just what if the Terminator from Terminator 1, what if we just mix the Terminator 1 with the T2 from Terminator 2? You know, that other movie that's way better that you could be watching right now?
So yeah,
let's just merge those two together. And then the guy they hired, it's like he doesn't look threatening at all.
Well, it's the guy that they had Ghost
To
Rider.
be fair, well, to be fair, remember the dude from Terminator 2? When he was
threatening though, because he had that kind of like
No, he
calculating,
freaked
like,
me out.
like unnerving quality to him. Like he was very like commanding, but not
okay.
Like
See,
there was
Plus
something
he-
off about him. He was uncanny.
the thing about
Plus
Terminator
he-
2,
say it.
All right, I retract my statement.
The way he spoke too was very uncanny. Like even when he's like threatening Sarah, he's not like angry. He's just like call to John. Call to John. It's like that's creepy as shit.
I
the
know
part
this
that I'm
hurts
talking
you,
about
call
is
to
when he's
John.
actually being friendly police officer, where he's just going through the mall, he's asking the kids, he's being polite, he's being friendly. And the moment he sees John, it completely flips.
Yeah, the switch just flipped.
It reminds. So there's a okay. So again, so one thing I'll say when it comes to like the T1000 is that like I feel like what the thing they were trying to do is that like they were trying to emphasize how much more dangerous this new Terminator model was, and one of the things they tried to help emphasize with that was how different the two physicalities were.
Yeah,
like the T800, it's Arnold freaking Schwarzenegger, just a giant meat chunk of a man, versus the T1000, who's just like no, I can't. It's like
the T800 is like the warrior, and the T1000 is the assassin. Who can kill you way faster.
Well, also think about this. Yes, think about this too. The T-800 is the first one. It's the clunkier, bigger model. It was made just so it could at least pass on first glance through. But when you think about when people finally discovered that, it's like, hey, let's look out for that. The next series should be more socially adaptable.
Well, to be the T-800, I don't think it was the first because. Well, I don't know if Salvation's the one that retconned this, but there was one.
They said
they had the rubber skin.
I just saw this. I just saw that scene. I
don't know if they might have retconned it to that.
No, because in the first Terminator,
he mentioned rubber skin.
Yeah, in the first Terminator, Kyle Reese mentioned is how the Terminators weren't always, passable for human.
Yeah, they weren't.
So
caught them right away.
So honestly, Salvation with the whole T, I think there's 600s. I think technically.
I think they were like 600s or something like that.
Yeah, the T600. That's accurate because it's like there were versions that just weren't effective in terms of passing off as human. And there's also a scene where the main character from Salvation, he's walking down the street and he sees a silhouette of a man.
Yeah, he thinks it's a person.
It's another person, but it's one of the Terminators, which that goes to show it's like that even though it doesn't look human.
From a distance, you couldn't tell.
I mean, and it's got like rocket launchers, machine guns, and stuff. So like, it's still effective in killing people, especially in a post-nuclear war where a lot of people don't know what really happened, and they're like, "Hey, another person! Hey!" Turn around, and see some
machine gun go burn.
Exactly.
Yeah, like Edgy said, and with me saying they're more social, they're the assassins. Because when you already think that, hey, those Terminator fuckers, they got to the point where they're cloning our skin now, and they bleed and they sweat, and like I said, Kyle Reese's speech heavily implies they could have sex.
The only thing that gave them away at that point was like dogs could tell.
Yeah, and that was one thing.
Oh yes, they said the dogs.
Your dogs could tell. That was the only thing in the first one, at least, that could give them away was the dogs would freak out.
This.
And the second one, you're right.
Can I mention this?
Yeah.
I'm just saying this. The longer you talk to the T-800 in that first movie, the more you can tell there's something off. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
that's why the next one will have to be more socially adaptable. Yeah, when you start looking for that.
That's one thing I
you want one that can play friendly cop.
So the one thing I'll say about each Terminator movie is that each movie, for the most part, not counting really Genesis, because it doesn't really. Well, no, I take it back because Genesis doesn't. Each movie introduces technically a new version of the Terminator,
which kind of bugs me because.
Well, I was gonna say is that like I like is that to some degree it does show the advancements of them, like even T3 in terms of like physicality, I will say there is an improvement. I still think overall it's dumb because it's like it's got the endoskeleton and the liquid metal.
The only thing that one had that was good was that it could hack other machines pretty easily.
That was pretty cool. Which I feel like that should have been like its primary function. Instead of the liquid metal plus endoskeleton, they should have just been like, "Oh, it can infect other machines."
That's what I thought the liquid metal was for. Actually, was that it could like put pieces of itself in other things and then like fuck with it.
Oh no, we know what the liquid metal's for. Arnold points that out. I love that commentary track with him. Her boobs get bigger. I love this scene.
I can kind of see why you would do that.
Now, okay, so so when I was watching this movie, to be fair, we're jumping all over the place.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
But,
yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we are.
Let me just put this context. There's nothing really to talk about with T1 to T2, other than they're great.
Yeah, like the only
great.
I'm trying to think if there's any negative thing I could honestly say about T2.
I watched behind the scenes effects for the first movie. They said that they made the first ever robotic fist with a hydraulic pump to punch through the glass for an effect.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they actually and it's supposed to be so good.
I was gonna say the effects for T1 like. Aside from the Terminator walking by itself,
or when you see like the Arnold with the missing eye.
Well, okay, so about that one, I know a lot of people like obviously that is probably one of the next most obvious ones. However, he's technically a machine. He's supposed to look like uncanny, especially when his freaking eye is coming off. Like,
yeah, but it was more so like the skin and the face like around it that doesn't look right. Like you can tell it's not Arnold.
Yeah, to me you can tell, but to me it still adds to the atmosphere. Like, holy crap!
I mean, yeah, it's creepy, and it's only like 5 seconds really that you see it.
But when it comes back to the T3 with the was it TX?
I think it was a TX and T3.
Yeah, it was a TX.
I don't know
because TX stands for 10. Like at least when it comes to Roman numerals.
I like the other name people gave it, the Terminatrix, which is actually kind of accurate.
That's a better name. That's
accurate too, because Trix is like the Latin
now
suffix for like when it's female, so it makes sense.
Imagine this for a second.
Imagine Thor's like the male version.
You had the Terminatrix, right? And it's still an infiltration unit, but because one thing that always bothered me was that it had so many weapons and guns, it was basically indestructible. It's like, at this point, why bother with infiltration? Like, what's the point? Just blow them up. Like, had she shown up to like, because in the beginning when she takes like a cop's gun, like, you don't need that gun.
Yeah, she really didn't.
Cannons.
She has her arm turned to a freaking
cannon.
She
had a cannon.
Bitches love cannons.
Yeah, and I'm like, why do you have this? Like, I get the car because you can't run that fast.
Plus, you would really stand out running that fast.
Yeah, but like, why do you need a gun? Just stab them. Just blast them with a freaking plasma cannon. Because at
least
they don't care about subtlety.
At least the Terminator from T2 didn't have any ranged weapons built in. So he had to get up close to her, had to use a gun. So at least that made sense.
One thing I say this.
Sorry.
I just want to say this because this is the point I was trying to get to. This may be the misogyny in my brain, which I fully own that because I am. I'm kidding. Imagine if the Terminatrix straight up like tried to seduce men to infiltrate places.
That's what I think they were trying to go for with the boob thing, was they could disarm people. To make people like not think, oh, this person's weird.
That's the only reason.
That's the only reason, but they don't. They have that one scene, and it's
a robot would think that too. A robot would do that. A robot would think like a robot would think female. It's sex appeal. But they didn't go with it. You're right. She should have been more spy.
Yeah.
And then I think
chicks are always the spies.
With the guns, like it's one of those where it's like, if she's gonna use the sex appeal to infiltrate, she doesn't need the guns because it's like,
close enough.
Who cares?
Stabby arm
and
laser vagina.
I think it would have been cool if this was like, well, first of all, it makes
she literally could just put her finger against their neck and just extend it out and just kill them that way.
Yeah,
actually, I got kind of a horrible idea.
Yeah,
or no, listen to me. I promise this
laser.
No, here we go. Take a T1000, and you know how you could only put back something that's living tissue and stuff like that. That's the only thing you can put back because of reasons. What if you took a T1000 and put and basically made them cover in a nuclear device? Like just have a T1000 and a flesh-covered bomb. Flesh bombs.
Like, so that's another thing in T3 is that he's like the T850. He's not.
Yeah, he's like a slightly better version than the T800.
He's got like those nuclear charges in his chest that power him. I say, why not just send one of those and just suicide bomb John Connor?
Well, I can understand why the computer might not want to do that, because the computer's like, okay, if we fuck with too much, we might not exist either.
Okay, that's a good point. That's why.
That's the one thing with Tasha. I was like, okay, we could make a time that we have to do this very specific thing, and we really can't change anything else because we have no idea what's going to happen.
Scorched earth, burn it all.
Another thing that bothers
Scorched earth, burn it all. No
because Skynet could legit end up destroying the technology that would create it.
That's
true,
but,
with a nuke.
Did Skynet basically make itself in the third movie?
No,
it kind of did.
I thought it happened in the second film.
Kind of did.
In the second movie, they reverse engineer the microchip from the T-800.
But they destroyed it. Well, Max wasn't like Max Dyson, I think is the guy.
Yeah, technically T3 afterwards should never have happened. But
yeah, like the whole thing with T3, and of course, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a while since I've seen it. That Skynet ended up being software instead of hardware. So in theory, Skynet can exist anywhere, basically making Skynet far more powerful and far more difficult to destroy, because pretty much you have to destroy any computer that's on the internet.
If I remember correctly, the way it went in T3 was it pretended to be a virus that was spreading and it was trying to get the military to turn a computer on. That was Skynet. But like, I guess Skynet had installed part of itself as software and everything.
So I think
then it tricked the humans into turning it on fully so it could do what it wanted.
I think there's a little meta to it in that, like, when T1 and T2 came out, like, the internet wasn't quite what it was at the time. So it was kind of hard to sit here and think that there was a day where you could have a entity like Skynet and not have it be hardware. So then when T3 comes out, it's like the original movies weren't really made with that context in mind.
And now it's like, oh, we have software.
It's obvious this is what Skynet would do. It would become software.
Hey guys, I'll tell you why T3 was really made.
Beat than Ultron.
Why?
Sorry, Soggy.
T3 was made to get Arnold Schwarzenegger elected governor of California. Yep, it was all part of his campaign. It was to create jobs. Yep.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
And that's a big reason why I had practical effects. He insisted on practical effects because you have to hire more people for those. So if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have had that big giant crane arm going through a building,
which was like the only good action scene in T3.
Oh yeah,
that scene was good, but then it's like the rest of the movie happens.
I will say this,
until the end. The end I actually like.
Yeah,
the action scenes.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Are good. Like even Genesis and Dark Fate, I'll give them the action scenes are pretty cool.
I was bored with the action scenes in Genesis.
Yeah, but Genesis, it starts decent enough, but it gets worse.
Like the Future War stuff in Genesis, I was like, can we just get a movie of that, please? I'll take a movie of that, please.
Salvation?
No, in Genesis when they're... Well, Salvation had good action, too.
I think Salvation had, not counting T2.
Out of the sequels, I think Salvation was the best.
I think of all of them, Salvation had the best action.
Yeah.
In terms of
because they used models in that, they used CGI, they used practical stuff.
You got to see so many alternate versions of the machines, not just the Terminators. You got to see hunter killers. You got to see those in T1 and 2, but you got to see them fully in action here.
You got to see those weird Hydro Terminator things,
the motorbike ones.
Yeah, which those are weird because they have a seat on them. So I always thought it was weird. It's like, why does the automated bike have a seat?
See, I always thought that was meant to have a Terminator writing on it.
I guess, but it just seems like Skynet would just we'll just put guns on it and just have we don't need to put another thing on top of it as a bike to drive itself. But I know what they did because in the movie John is riding one.
Like a toy.
It's funny because so here's another thing that really bothers me about Dark Fate. So, in all the movies, the Terminators and Skynet, they aren't individuals. They are all just part of the collective of Skynet. Yeah. So, the only reason, and again, this is I know this is director's cut T2, but to me, it's one of those where it's they should never have cut it. It's the part where they alter the chip in Arnold's brain so that way he can actually start learning fully human emotions, because in that movie, in the director's cut, it's the Terminators, they learn to be human as the longer they're active, but there's a chip in them that keeps them from becoming too human. And so in order for him to become
I didn't know this.
It was pretty cool.
So as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to watch T2, watch the director's cut. Not only does it have the better ending in terms of this is the definitive ending to Terminator,
it shows a happy ending with
which to me is a
Sarah
big plot hole.
I've never seen this.
I have seen that ending.
Yeah, something to kind of also put in that part where the chip gets the chip gets taken out. I don't think it's supposed to get smashed. It's supposed to be tweaked. And there's a part where Sarah sees this as an opportunity to destroy the machine because the machine's turned off. Without the chip the way that it is, or at all, the machine can't be turned on anymore. So she's about to smash the chip, and John stops her, basically saying, no, we need him. And it's the first time that John takes charge of a situation. So it's kind of cool because you see him slowly becoming the leader that he's meant to be. And that's awesome.
To me, that scene alone is probably
it's so awesome.
It's awesome, and I will say without it, it's a plot hole. Because it's like, you're telling me this Terminator who was meant to kill humans, all it took for him to not kill humans is just to hang out with a kid? Like, to me...
Well, to be fair, they did imply that someone in the future did reprogram him, too.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like...
Yeah, I thought he was already pre-reprogrammed.
He's still the same model as the first one.
Yeah, he is the same model, but I just assumed that they had figured out how to, like, give him directives or something. I don't know.
I figured John Connor groomed the robot to be his dad. Now, when you get back in the past and you see me as a child, you're going to really want to take care of me. Give me a hug.
You know what's one thing?
John Connor, the ultimate groomer.
I know we're jumping all over the place.
But so he's grooming a 1-year-old, right?
You know what's one thing I thought was interesting that T3 did that Salvation actually addressed?
What?
There's a scene, and I completely forgot about it, where when John first gets saved by Arnold, he's like, you're not the... He realized, oh, you're not the same Terminator that when I was a kid. He goes, no. And he says the reason I was sent back is because... And he says to John that's like, I killed you, or I kill you in the future. Yeah. And then they have the Terminator in Salvation that looks like Arnold that kills John. Technically,
that was such a cool, like, in T3, that was such a cool little nod because, well, first of all, it doesn't make sense because how does Skynet fucking know? Like to me, it's like, how does to me, that the time travel, like, aspect of it really throws it off for me, but how does Skynet know anything about John's childhood involving the Terminators, especially when the Terminators...
Well, I don't think it did, though. I don't think it did. I think the whole thing was just...
No, they say it. Like, they used that model because of his childhood past with it.
Well, no, I think that's why the Resistance sent him back specifically.
I don't know. To me, it seems
very... right, though, because how would they... Well, actually, I guess I know how they would, because since it's them in the future, and I guess he told somebody about this, and they survive.
Yeah.
I guess he's like, oh, right, this is the one he was telling us about. Remember, the Terminator did flat out say, by the way, I kill you in the future.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like, oh, John Price said, this Terminator's going to kill me. Send that one back to save me. Just because John has a weird sense of irony, I guess.
Well, I always thought that simply, like, again, this is back in the original movie's context, is that, like, I just thought this is what all the Terminators look like. They just look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Because
didn't they kind of show that?
Oh,
there's like a deleted scene in 3 where they have that.
Yeah.
Well, there's like that, and there's also
Salvation.
There's also in Salvation, it's like implied that it's like because they're just grown in a factory, and then they're built in a factory, and they're later given
the artificial skin. Yeah,
artificial skin. So I just assumed that they just all looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I think they did, though.
Like the T-800 series.
Yeah, I think they implied they all do.
And then, like, when you get to the T-1000s, had they been mass-produced, like the T-800s, then you would have had them all looking like, what's his name? Robert Patrick.
Well, remember, I think, didn't he just take that form from, like, a copy killed or something?
No, when he first comes to...
no, that's right. He is in that form when he comes
is
in
that human past. He takes the cop's uniform. And
you're right.
But he is technically Robert Patrick under the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's nude.
That's one thing that always
swinging.
That's one thing that kind of bothers me in the later movies is like, how do they decide the base template? Like, you're setting a Terminator to blend in 1980s California. Let's send an Austrian man. That's totally not going to stand out.
Well, like I said, they do give a reason in T3 why the 800s look like that, and that's because they were based off one of the people that worked on them. that was
So-
Arnold. But the
yeah.
thing that makes it funny is his voice. They dubbed someone else's voice over Arnold, and the people who were designing the Terminator were like, I don't think that voice is gonna work. So one of the other people, they had like some other dude, and they just dubbed his voice in. He has Arnold's voice, and they dubbed it on somebody else. It's probably okay. We'll use his body and your voice to make this thing awesome.
One thing I will say this though, and
Which is
this
hilarious, and it's
this is
stupid.
the comic book. This is the comic book nerd of me, and I know this is kind of a fan theory, because for a brief moment, Alien, Predator, and Terminator were all in the same universe in the comics.
I don't know how the hell you'd make that make sense.
It's
And don't forget RoboCop.
Oh yeah, that's right. RoboCop was in that too.
And technically Blade Runner too. So
Blade Runner is part of Alien.
But I'm saying that if Blade Runner is part of Alien, then therefore Blade Runner is part of Terminator.
Technically, yes, which is kind of weird because like, why would the hell would you make robots again if assuming this takes place after? Because it had to take place after Terminator.
Basically, if I remember correctly, I think
it's after Terminator.
It's in the comic. It's in the comic, Alien versus Predator versus Terminator. So it might have just been that one continuity. But I know there's a fan theory that kind of came about is that like basically after Dutch, like the character Dutch from Predator, defeated the Predator, he became like a legend among like people in the world. And so when it came time to build the Terminators, Skynet was like, we're going to take the best human template we can find and make that the basis of our T-800s. And thus, here you have Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're all based on Dutch. Like, I know it's a fan theory.
Oh, wow.
And it probably has nothing.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, that has
put
nothing to do with.
But it's still kind of a fun little theory to have.
I mean, I guess, but then it's kind of like, okay. The problem is trying to tie it. The problem is with having Alien and Terminator in the same universe, because Alien and Blade Runner are in the same continuity, is you have to then go with this idea that, okay, so the shit in Terminator has to happen, and then humans definitely win. And then at some point, humans said, hey, you know how we had a bunch of killer robots? Let's build androids. And let's build androids that can think.
They got better.
They got better at it.
They did get better at it.
Central intelligence. No more central intelligence.
But it's just, again, can you imagine the conversation, though? Like how the public is like, we had literally had a giant war, nuclear holocaust with robots.
Well, think about this. How much
you want to make more?
What's the time difference between Terminator and Alien?
Like at least 100 years.
Like 300 years?
Yeah, at least a good 200 years or so.
That's enough time. That's enough time for people to kind of forget about the dangers of AI.
Probably, but I got a feeling there would be a lot of pushback.
Well, because another thing to keep in mind,
they want to have sex with it.
Yeah.
Someone will go.
They saw the glaring error of the original Terminator. It's like, so he has a dick, but you can't have sex with him. We got to fix that.
I'm just imagining that clip of JonTron where he's like contemplating and he just goes, "Fuck it." He just wants to go, "Fuck it." He's talking about our android. He's putting it in an android. He's just like, "Fuck it."
But one thing I was gonna say is that the side tangent is that keep in mind when Alien and Blade Runner existing in the same universe, that context only applies to the first Alien.
Yeah,
because they were both directed by Ridley Scott.
Oh yeah.
Anything after that, when it comes to Aliens and onward, it's like no, they're not connected anymore.
Actually, Prometheus is too, because there's like a little thing on one of the special little short films that outright states that this is in the same universe.
Right. Yeah. Well, okay. So back to Terminator.
But to be fair, Prometheus is before Alien, so that makes sense.
Yeah, but so oh god, there was one thing I was going to mention. So, talking about the templates, who the hell is the template for the Rev 9?
Okay, I got something on this one.
I don't know.
I think because Skynet is technically done with and now Legion exists, they probably decided to go with a template that was more. It could have just been a random. It just could have been random, but I'm thinking. Keyword is thinking that maybe it could have been something that would have been more versatile to the area that the Rev 9 was going to be going into. But technically, because again, it is using a technology similar to the Terminator from T3, depending on how you see it, of course. it probably doesn't even have a template, to be honest.
Here's what bugs me about Dark Fate, and this is again why time travel is annoying. The Terminator that goes back in time to kill Kyle, why does that thing exist if Skynet isn't invented, but this other thing is?
That's another thing that really pissed me off.
It doesn't make sense.
Because, like...
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Also, how does Arnold know where the Rev 9s are going to show up if he's not a part of Legion?
Exactly.
Stupid writing.
Yeah,
It's
I don't.
Yeah,
really
stupid
dumb.
writing, exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the one thing that kind of threw me off. So, like, at first I was thinking, like, they don't really get to choose their templates. Not like when it comes to the past. Like, we have a template for our infiltrators, and we just have to make them work in the situations, especially in the past. But for this one, the Rev 9, you're telling me that Legion just got lucky when it was like, all right, where's our target? She lives in Mexico. Oh, we got the template for a Hispanic man. Let's send him back. That's perfect.
Just an Hispanic dude, and
How would they even know what Mexico is, Legion? Why would they care? How would they even have the context of that?
yeah. Plus, again, it's like we're just rehashing Terminator, but now you pissed on the originals.
Oh,
That's the one thing
No,
that
we're
bothered me the most
just-
about Dark Fate is that, like, almost everything in that film, there's nothing original. Every single idea it has was
You can
executed
trace to
in
the
a
other
past-
movies.
into a past Terminator.
Yeah,
Like, the plot itself is basically T1 and T2 combined.
Yeah, pretty much.
and they somehow put in elements of T3 and Genesis in there too.
Yeah, like Grace, I think her name is. Like the
Grace
chick,
is like the human
the
hybrid
Terminator.
thing.
We saw that in Salvation.
Yeah,
And the way
it
that
was more effective in Salvation.
Yeah, and the way that Grace kills the Rev 9 is identical to the way that Arnold killed the Terminator in Terminator 3.
Yeah,
the exact same
she
way.
takes her like core
Yeah.
thing and
Exact same
blows that up.
They
Yep,
take the
it's the
explosive
same damn
core
thing.
inside the Terminator and shove it in the head of the more advanced Terminator. And they even have the stupid one-liner to finish it off.
Although this time Arnold doesn't say you are Terminator, he goes for John, which is like y'all didn't give a shit about John this entire movie.
We did not.
And you're the one.
In that.
You know,
And also, you're the one that
he
killed
should have
John.
said for.
Yeah,
yeah.
for John is probably the most
He
insulting
should have said
line in
for
the entire-
Mateo.
You know, here's the thing. I don't think
made more
John needed
sense.
to die for that movie. He really
No.
didn't. In fact, I actually have an idea of how you could have fixed at least part of the movie
Oh,
and
I
made
already-
it really
yeah.
interesting. Do you mind if I say it?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I think that they really missed an awesome opportunity for John to basically, they basically won Terminator 2. Skynet was not going to become a thing, but fate could have maybe been changed, but the future could have still had, again, Legion and stuff like that. Now that John and Sarah are starting to see trends that are going on, they realize, oh shit, there's stuff going on. And then they could have found the Rev 9 chasing the new savior. I didn't even bother learning her name.
I don't remember her name
Uh,
either.
And now John can train the new savior. And
That's
it
what
could
I
have
was
been a
thinking.
really-
Yes.
Yeah, it could have been a really cool opportunity for John to pass on what he's learned. He obviously being older John, and basically, and it's unlike him, who he had his mom, but he didn't really have anyone who could understand what he's going through. The new savior could have had John, and he knows what she's going through. It's like, man, this is all so familiar. But
honestly, I would have gone a step further. I would have just taken Arnold out of the movie.
Yeah, Arnold did not need to be there.
Yes,
The
He didn't.
Terminator did not need
not
to be there.
needed.
Because the reason why I'm saying take Arnold out is because you basically have John being what Arnold was in T2. Obviously he's human, so he's not as strong, obviously, but that kind of like guardian role that he had.
Yeah, because I was thinking the same thing too when I watched that film. It's like, because no offense to Linda Hamilton, no offense to Sarah Connor, but she really did not.
So bad in that.
Her and Arnold did not need to be in Dark Fate.
Yeah, they didn't.
They did not need to be there. All they
So
were there
bad.
for, and also, in my opinion, the fact that they are there shows how
little faith they had in the movie.
Ironically, Dark
They're
Fate
not-
did
I'm
not
not-
have much faith in it.
You
Not that
should
meta.
have gone with the full lady reboot.
Well, I'm saying is that it shows.
That still
Like I
probably
said,
would
no,
not
it
have gone
shows how
over well. I'm gonna be
pathetic-
real with you.
It shows how pathetically weak disgrace was as
Oh,
a
yeah.
Terminator. Because it's like, so let me get this straight. They sent you back to kill the Rev 9, and you couldn't even handle that one fight. Like, literally, after that one fight, she's already, like,
and she had diabetes.
incapacitated. And she had diabetes, about to die.
She had, like, diabetes.
They really made her, like, super weak, and it's like, why the hell would you send this back?
And she's like, oh, you have to kill, if you don't kill the Rev 9 in like a few minutes, it's over. And it's like, then why did they send you?
Why didn't they send, like, 2 of you back or something?
Why didn't they send anything else?
Yeah.
So I don't want to say that because it's like they've already established the fact that you can't send non-biological material. But
stupid writing.
I get cybernetic parts, but I get super diabetes.
Yeah, basically.
And how did they send the Rev 9 back?
Did they ever explain that? I don't remember anyone bringing that up.
His skin
magic.
Like,
because of reasons.
Magic. That's how.
Nanobots, right?
Yeah, they're not organic unless they're
nano magic.
To be fair,
unless it's made out of. The only way you could do it is if it's like it has like organic material on the outside, but internally it's machine on the nano level. Yeah, like it has like skin cells on the. Like it has like skin cells on the outside.
The nanobots are so advanced they can.
What if they said?
Or that, I guess, maybe.
Ew, what if
they can mimic skin perfectly?
Guys, I'm imagining something disgusting. What if the Terminators didn't get the smart idea of the clone skin? If they're like, oh man, it has to go through living tissue. I know, shove a Terminator in a sheep. And then like a sheep travels back in time and people are just looking like, what's with that fucking sheep? And it just goes, bah, blah! It just explodes and then a robot comes out of it.
Wait, I just thought of a way they can do it, actually. Like, not the sheep thing. Not the sheep thing. There's a thing that somebody sent me a video about this where they can, they were doing it with this grape. What they do is they took all of the, I guess, fruit protein out of it, and they put, like, cells from, like, I think it was either a pig or a cow, and, like, into the cell walls of the grape. And so the grape basically was like, it was a meat grape, basically. Like it grew.
Kind
of like what I was talking about before with the meat bombs.
I know why Skynet wanted to kill us.
I'm just saying, like that. Maybe that's how the Rev 9 works. It's got like organic shit, and it's fake cell walls that grows outside of it when it teleports or gets transported. I don't freaking know. I'm probably putting more thought into this than the writers did, let's be real.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, so back with Dark Fate, though, like, the Rev 9, like...
I think I have the link to this saved. I'm going to put it in chat.
I like the visuals of it. I liked how the effects were handled when it comes to, like, its removing of its nanobots to become the separate machine. My issue, though, is that ultimately... It is basically the T-1000 and the TX kind of combined.
Yeah.
It's basically all three Terminators combined. Mm-hmm. And it even has elements of the T-3000 from Genesis, which was the John Connor Terminator, where it was just nanomachines. Nanomachines, son.
Basically.
And one thing that really kind of annoyed me, and this is kind of getting later.
Oh, I found the link to the video I was talking about with the grape. I'm going to post it in chat.
Oh, no.
The scene where it tries to reason with the T-800, where it's like, just let me have her.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make any sense.
You and me, we're built for the same purpose. It's like, you are a fucking machine. You know what he's built for. Why are you trying to reason with him? What makes you think he hasn't been reprogrammed?
Plus, why is the Rev 9 even aware of the T-800 existing? Like, that should be a complete anomaly to it, right?
Yeah, he should be baffled by the T-800.
Yeah, the Rev 9 should be like, what the fuck are you? Like, who made you?
It's Skynet. You copied us. And then T-800's like, no, trust me.
I don't know what I have to say within his Austrian, like, I'm an artifact from a scrap timeline.
Dominic Prowl says thoughts on the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
I have not seen it, so that I can't even.
I was gonna say that I have not seen the show. I was gonna watch it for the stream, but between watching the entire Terminator series, I just didn't have time to squeeze it in. Plus, I couldn't find it either. I wasn't about to pay for it.
Yeah, I heard it's hard to find.
It's hard to stream. Yeah.
So
it's hard to find these days. Fucking Fox.
Unless
Well-
Jay's got something to say on it, I got
I saw.
Is it even
I think I
canon?
saw the first season.
No.
Well,
Not
when I
anymore.
watched it, it was kind of at a weird time. I'm not sure if you all remember this, but do you remember the writer's strike that happened?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
it basically fucked up a lot of
Oh,
shows. Yeah, it
Movies,
fucked up the
too.
show too.
Yep, back
like
to
it
you.
started off really strong because it was kind of neat because again, it was like right before Terminator 3. Let's just say it's another universe entirely. So this one woman Terminator, who's who seems like a more advanced version of the T-800. It's been a while since I've seen it, so some of the details are a little fuzzy. But it was pretty interesting because again, it's a Terminator that seems like she might be heroic, but then that she'd have some moments where she was very on the mission. So like there was this one part where some criminals were with some contacts. Some criminals were after some contacts that were there to give her some information. But instead of trying to save the contacts because they knew they were about to die, the Terminator easily could have saved them, but then she just leaves them to die. And since she didn't make any struggle, the criminals that are going to kill the contacts didn't even touch her. So it was just kind of really disturbing that she, again, is there to save John Connor, but she's definitely no hero. And I think that could have had some really cool implications later on. But here's where the writer's strike comes in. When the writer's strike happens, the last thing that you saw was the Terminator getting blown up. And you're just like, what the fuck is this shit? And again, they never really say when the show is going to start up again. And by the time I found out, like 4 or 5 episodes, I think half the next part of the season happened. I'm just like, I'll just watch it in reruns. And they never came. So it was just like, fuck. So so I think that the Sarah Chronicles probably got an early death because of the writer's strike. Oh man, they stroked for a very justifiable reason. They wanted to make sure they got paid for digital content, but boy howdy, so many shows
and movies too.
Yeah, and movies too.
I mean, Transformers 2 got fucked over by that hard because they had to get another writer in halfway through, and he's like, "Yo, I don't know what the fuck is going on."
Yeah, basically, there's like no real writers credited to that Transformers 2, but
yeah, they were like, "Okay, we knew the strike was coming up, so we had to write as much as we could before then. Then we had to phone a friend to finish this."
That was just bad.
Yeah. So one thing that though, when it comes to like the whole Terminator stuff, is that like each film, I will say this, like even though everything past, no, I'll include T1 and T2, is that every film adds something to the Terminator kind of mythos, lore, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, T1 establishes the Terminator, Skynet, the future war, all that jazz. T2 introduces the reprogrammed T800, the Terminator's learning, the T1000. T3 introduces the TX and some of the early models of what would become the hunter-killer machines in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Salvation, you got to see the future war. You got to see kind of the birth of the T-800s.
You had to see like an early version of it.
Yeah, you got to see John Connor essentially getting his scar. The human Terminator, which I don't care what anyone says, that was like that's an original idea at that point in time. I don't know about Sarah Connor Chronicles or anything like that, but to me that's a pretty cool concept.
To add to that, real fast, Dominic Proud, the female Terminator from Sarah Connor Chronicles, name is Cameron. Tim King's Heroes was also affected by the writer's strike.
Oh yeah, I remember her name is Cameron.
Yeah,
I remember seeing the thing talking about saying that, obviously homage to James Cameron.
That's kind of cool.
No, that is cool.
But okay, so I saw about Salvation, and then Genesis. Like again, it's a mess of a movie, but it does introduce the what was it, T3000, the nanobot Terminator.
Wait, are we talking about Genesis or
Genesis? Which that movie
Genesis.
It shits
or is it known
cellular level?
Or is this known in the UK? Mega Drive. Terminator Mega Drive.
But like
what?
That's a joke. That's a joke. The Sega Genesis is called the Sega Mega Drive.
Oh, okay.
I'm 100%
just
joking.
got
I don't think they actually called it that. That would have actually been
I was
funny.
just about to start looking that up. Like,
That
what
would
are
have
you
been
talking about?
funny.
Oh wow.
But
fucking
Because
Edgy
some reason
trolling
movies
us.
have completely different titles, which is weird.
but yeah, like in Terminator Genesis, like they introduced the T-3000, which I don't care what anyone says, it's dumb that they
It is
turned
dumb.
John Connor into the freaking villain. And
They
did
even
nothing-
pointed. They even call it out too, which is so weird. Like Sarah says, if you kill us, you don't exist. And his response, his big brain IQ response, is says who? It's like, bro, have you read any sci-fi story ever? If you kill your parents before you're born, you don't exist.
Yeah, and then like it'd be one thing if the movie like I don't know, like redeemed him, like showed that he was being controlled by Skynet, but no, it's like no, John Connor is straight up the villain. He's literally the thing that he was born to destroy, and it's like the movie does nothing to properly address that and how fucked up that is. But again, it's still a new concept, the T-3000 to some degree. We've seen human Terminators though, but it is, technically new.
I mean, it is pretty horrifying, the idea that's like, yeah, it just basically pulls the thing on you and just takes you over cell by cell and turns you into a robot.
Honestly, Genesis should have been that. It should have been John Connor going back in time, or the T-3000 going back in time. Maybe not necessarily John Connor, but infecting like key people and basically kind of starting the machine war early and like kind of changing the game a bit. Like, well,
I still think making John the villain is just kind of dumb.
Oh, it's dumb. It's absolutely the dumbest thing. But it's not as bad as killing him in the first 5 seconds of the film.
No.
Speaking of killing John, do we want to talk about that other ending for Salvation, the one they changed because it got leaked?
Yes, we can talk. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes, we can.
Because I'm glad they didn't go with that, because that was just like, huh?
What was it? I'll let you say it.
Because there's 2 versions of it. So at the end of Salvation, John Connor gets killed by the Arnold Terminator, the one the really weird CGI one at the end of that movie. And in the theatrical cut, well, okay, so this was the original ending, but then it got leaked, so they reshot it. In the original plan, they were gonna have John die, but the human Terminator hybrid, the one that's played by Sam Worthington, what they were doing was they were gonna graft John Connor's skin onto him so he looked like Johnny and that would imitate John's voice.
Yeah, basically he would take John's place.
But there's like 2 versions of this, because there's one version where Skynet hijacks his body and he kills everybody. And he's like evil John going around like hunting with like the resistance or whatever. And then there's like the version where he just pretends to be John the whole time.
Yeah.
To keep John, the legend of John alive, I guess.
It's very clear that the guys behind Terminator had a hate boner for John long before Genesis.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, that's an interesting what if kind of story, but I don't think you should make that as a movie.
Yeah, like the ending with him giving him his heart, and he's got like this super powerful like synthetic heart. Like that's cool enough for me.
You know what would have been interesting? Actually, this could have been pretty cool. If they figured out a way to like the process that made Sam Worthington a Terminator human hybrid thing, they did that to John. Because John's kind of like revered as this like mythic dude. It's like, what if it's like the reason he survived all this shit is because he's secretly parts like cyborg. It's like a secret cyborg.
I think that kind of pushes to the whole being replaced by a machine.
It does, but like it's still John. Like it's just he's got like a robot skeleton grafted onto him or something.
I can see them maybe using what they learned from the human Terminator and then using that as like the idea of reprogramming another Terminator.
Yeah.
Like, well, we see these guys aren't necessarily evil, they're just programmed.
When you said a giant Terminator skeleton grafted onto him, all I could
not a giant, no, but like a
giant.
Oh,
sorry. When you said a Terminator, said like he has a Terminator grafted on top of him, like how the crews had to actually do the Terminator effects in the first movie. Like he just has this giant Terminator on top of him, and they ride the Terminator bike.
I was thinking what they were gonna do was like more like they put like the Terminator's like skeleton under his skin or something, like around it, like grafted onto like his bones or something, or on top of the muscle, maybe some kind of way. I don't know.
Under my skin.
Basically like that. Basically, he's got like plates under his skin or something.
Of me.
So think of this though, like so I was thinking, like, imagine if, like, because when you said that, I was like, imagine if they like turned the endoskeleton of the Terminator, or endoskeleton into like a suit of body armor, and that was what John was wearing. Like, he's got like the T-800 skull as a helmet.
That would be badass, actually. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to see that.
The Terminator of Terminators.
He just runs around, got like
killer.
they made like an exosuit out of a Terminator. Because we have those.
Terminator.
We actually have those now. I mean, obviously they're not like full on, like you could use them in a fight right now, but they do have wearable exoskeletons that do make you slightly stronger. Like I've actually seen videos of people using them. Like obviously they're prototype, like test stuff, so I think it's probably gonna be a while before you actually see someone wearing that in like a fight.
Oh, they're a lot. They're a lot like the ones from Alien too.
Yeah, the power loader.
That's very
kind of.
That's
kind of. They're actually not as like bulky as the power loaders, like the ones I've seen. It's like something you actually like are legit wearing. Like you could like wear
it's
normal
like
clothes
under
and like
your shirts.
Yeah, it's like they have like a metal. I don't know if it's metal. It's like a reinforced spine and like things on like your arms and stuff, and I think your legs too. And it was showing like a guy like lifting something that's like, yeah, this guy shouldn't be able to lift this. Like if he wasn't wearing that thing, I don't think he could lift this.
You know,
at least not as easily as he did.
There's another thing I wanted to bring up, thinking about Dark Fate. So, obviously one of the main, one of the obvious like plot points they stole from was literally the story of Sarah Connor. Like she's literally Sarah Connor.
Oh yeah.
Up until like the quote unquote plot twist, which I don't count as a plot twist because if you didn't see that shit coming, you're a fucking idiot. Where it's like, you're not the mother of the savior, you are the savior. And I'm like, first of all, this tiny little woman is the leader of the resistance.
She was not believable at all.
Don't get me wrong, a woman can clearly be an effective leader because we saw it in Sarah Connor. But this tiny little teenager is leading the entire fight against the Legion. Like, Legion must not be that effective of a group.
Also, what even is Legion?
See anything with any commanding presence?
Like,
you know, I think
she's got braids. She's got braids. That was it. I got braids now. I'm the leader. And then like, and she's like the same height.
Supposedly,
she barely looks any older. And I'm like, this is your leader.
Yeah.
This is who the machines fear enough to send someone back in time. And they don't even have the context of, like, in Terminator 1, they have the context of, we destroyed Skynet. This sending the Terminator back in time, this is their last-ditch effort to win the war.
Which to me kind of always made me question, like, why are we sending, in like 2 and 3, it's like, okay, so, but we're sending more advanced ones back? Like, when did you have time to do that?
That's a whole nother plot point, but I'm talking about, like, how in Dark Fate, it's like, there is no context. Why would they send a Legion Rev 9 back in time when there's no context of like they've been defeated? Like they don't even mention anything like that. Oh, they just sent one back in time. Why would they come to that conclusion? Why would they
stupid writing
time travel? Yeah, I mean we all know the answer, but I'm saying it's like internal logic wise, like why would they resort to such a drastic plan?
You know what would have been cooler? You know what would have been a hell of a lot cooler?
Wait, I want to Soggy go real quick.
Oh, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say we should have had scenes to show us that she was hyper intelligent. Like the movie opens up with her making breakfast for the Rube Goldberg machine, like in the 90s.
Oh God!
No, you know, been a cool twist if he turns out to have been the one to build Legion.
Like, that would be interesting. She accidentally built Legion.
Oh, you know what'd be crazy?
Like she's a computer programmer.
So the Rev 9, okay, so maybe not exactly the Rev 9 since it was so much more powerful, but you find out that the Rev 9, the evil machine, was sent back in time to protect her from the human resistance fighter. because
Nah.
she's the person who gives
Oh,
birth
that'd be cool.
to Legion. So it's like, you can even have it.
Mother.
At first, it starts off like it starts off seeming like, oh, we just got this really aggressive Terminator protecting her because she's gonna be the one to destroy Skynet. But it turns out, no, you create Skynet.
That's a better twist.
And
What I was
That'd
gonna
be
go
somebody
with,
in your
Yeah.
what I was gonna go with is instead of having it be,
good.
what I was gonna say is, what if like the movie was just there was no time travel involved, and it's just we see Danny going through a normal day, and then the apocalypse just happens, and then like it's her trying to figure out what her and like maybe a couple survivors trying to go what the fuck is going on. Then the robots show up,
that could be
and then like
interesting.
she gets like maybe she gets rescued by like whatever the resistance group is, and then it's like a time skip, and then we see her like higher up in their organization. She's not leader yet, but she's like kind of, maybe we see her first mission or something. I don't fucking know. And the movie is her going up the ranks kind of, while also finding out more about, okay, what the fuck happened. Because of course there's no internet, so no one can you can't just ask, people can't piece it together like you would if something just happened on Twitter.
Well, yeah, because like in the context of Terminator, it's like the general public didn't know what happened. They just got nuked to hell.
Yeah, exactly.
They know human-shaped robots start walking the streets, gunning them down for no reason. So that would have been an interesting
Where were you
plot
gonna
to see.
say Megatron?
What was that?
Well,
What were you
you
gonna
sounded
say?
like you had something to say, Megatron. Sounded like you
No.
had something to say, Megatron. Oh,
No.
okay.
But one thing I was
I
going to say
just
about
wanna hear
Danny, though, is
more
that,
from you.
like, one thing I was going to say about Danny is that after watching this movie again, I realized she doesn't have a character arc.
No.
She doesn't
Brother
actually,
dies?
her dad and brother die, and that's about it.
Sad?
Like, she goes from the start of the movie where she's strong, a strong female character, to the end where now she's just strong female character fighting a robot. Like, nothing really changes about her.
Yeah.
She has no
Mm-mm.
arc. She doesn't get over her fear of the Rev 9. The entire time she's kind of like,
Yeah.
like, I hate this thing. I want to kill it. And then that's okay. So that scene where they're teaching her to shoot guns is one of the most bullshit scenes I've ever witnessed in a long time. Where she's got like I don't know what type of gun it was, but the little handheld pistol. She's shooting at the watermelons, misses every shot. Then Sarah gives her an even bigger gun, and it's like, that's a Terminator, just killed her family. Starts nailing every shot.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
Ah!
That's not how that works.
That is not how that works.
Especially
No.
with a bigger gun.
It doesn't work that way.
Especially with a bigger gun. A gun bigger than her.
See, I get if the scene was like she's trying to teach her how to like punch something and her punch is like really weak or something. And then Sarah's like, that punching bag, that thing killed your mom. And then she hits it like harder and actually starts like, because there's like that, because I've done this like when I've I used to use a punching bag, and it was like this little awkward moment like, okay, you want like your brain's kind of like, don't hit it full force even though part of you wants to. So you have to like convince yourself like, okay, hit it as hard as you can. It's a punching bag. It doesn't matter, So you could have had that where she's like, she doesn't fight. Because she doesn't fight. So she's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, she doesn't really even do anything against the Rev 9. She's kind of just there. Everyone else is really doing the fighting.
They didn't show her as smart.
Even in T1, like Sarah, like at the end when Kyle Reese was dead, it was just her versus the Terminator. She didn't like let someone else fight it.
Yeah, she got the Terminator in that damn press thing and crushed it.
She scored the kill of the
You're
Terminator.
terminated.
Yeah,
She's
Kyle
the
got
first-
the assist from the grave, but
she's the first human in human history to destroy a Terminator.
yeah.
Yep.
Like
The real
And she does
badass.
Yep, and she does it by basically crushing it to death. A slow, painful death.
And she gives
Because
it
you know
one
they can
liner
feel-
and you're terminated,
Yeah, yeah.
motherfucker.
You're terminated, motherfucker. And then like I know the Terminator doesn't feel fear, but he at least had to been like, oh god damn it.
Yeah, Terminator must have been like, I made a
I'm
terrible
gonna hit
miscalculation.
my robot pants.
Skynet, I have failed.
He just shat his robot pants.
Well, he wasn't even wearing pants. at that
Mother!
Oh
point.
yeah, at that point his legs had been blown off, so he couldn't even shit his pants if he wanted.
Yeah.
He's just a torso. But
So our idea of a better Terminator Dark Fate would have John no Arnold, maybe not even Sarah Connor, maybe just John Connor taking her role and being the mod. Yeah, I just have it be John.
Actually, you know what you could do? You could have Sarah be
John
there.
be the mentor and have. Oh yeah. Oh, she could die.
Like an old Sarah. I was saying like she could be in the movie, but have her obviously die of like old age or something.
You could do.
Oh no, I mean, have her blown up. Have like John like scream over her blowing up.
Or she dies like saving John and the girl from like the Rev 9 or something. Like she distracts him for a second.
Yeah, basically the T-800 sacrifice is her sacrifice.
Yeah.
At the end. But one thing I was thinking, what you could do is have like at the scene where Sarah shows up to save them, instead it's John coming to save them. And then after they kind of get like caught in a corner, and it's like, we need help, we need backup, and John's like, I know someone who can help us. And then he shows him driving to a house, and in the house is Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
He's like, Mom, I need your help.
Yeah, that's a better way to do it. You're always coming crawling back to me when you need me. All right, I'll make you some cocoa.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, basically she's just like, oh, you found whoever the whatever Danny or whatever. It's like, okay.
So,
or like John explains what's going on.
Bullshit.
Oh god.
Like John explains what's going on, and she just stares at him and just goes makes coffee or something. I guess he's telling the story. It's just like, and then just pulls out a gun and hits the girl. Like, here you go. Basically, just like, I'm gonna go make coffee. She stares like a few seconds after they explain it. She goes, I'm gonna go make coffee. And that's just it. And like Danny's like, she just believes like everything like that. And she goes, yeah, I'm his mom.
She's been through this.
She's been through some shit.
Everything you're going through, she's been through. Literally. Everything. Parents dying.
Oh, Twitchy.
Being attacked at her job.
Hi, Twitchy.
By crazy things. Yeah, it all happened to her. But oh god, like, it's like Dark Fate in and of itself. It's so unoriginal in almost everything it does. Like, not even talking about other films, just the other Terminator films. Like, they had to have.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think they tried to play that off as like a gotcha. I think they did that slightly on purpose to be like, oh, look how similar we are to the original movie. So then when they throw in the twist, quote unquote, of
it's like,
Danny
you didn't see that coming, did you?
It's like, oh yeah, you didn't see that coming. You thought we were just a blatant copy. It's like,
we're being clever, and it's like, you're really not, dude.
Nope.
You're really not.
Yeah.
Has anyone here seen the real Terminator 3?
The real
The
Terminator
theme
3?
park attraction?
Oh, yes, I have.
It was a theme park attraction.
Yeah, I have. That was awesome.
It's got the T1 million or something in it, right?
Yeah, that weird like pyramid, pyramid thing, and then the giant liquid metal like mantis looking thing.
I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Yeah, it was. I've seen that. It's pretty awesome. That part is like a little bit more like, okay, that's a little ridiculous, but it was awesome. And apparently that was one of the ideas that James Cameron had for T3 if he was going to do it.
There it is.
Was something like that.
Let me see if I can. Let me share my screen real quick because it's so dumb, but at the same time, I love it.
I mean, it's better than what we got.
Yeah. Well, that's not really saying much.
Governor.
The sad part is, actually,
there it is.
Do you have the recent tallies of the votes for which, besides T1 and T3, which is the worst?
You know what? While you're looking at that, I just thought of that thing you were showing.
What?
Has anyone seen Godzilla 2000?
Yes.
It looks like Orga before he mutates to
really
full
does.
kaiju
Holy
form.
shit.
It really does.
So we have 38 votes total. I asked, which is the worst Terminator sequel? Because we all know the best one. Rise of the Machines got 2.6 votes. Salvation got another 2.6 votes. Genesis got 31.6, and Dark Fate sitting there with a fat 63.2%.
Well, people are speaking on that.
Like, I still stand. Okay, so I genuinely think Genesis is technically worse simply because its story makes no sense. Like, there's no real like internal logic that makes sense with it, especially when they time travel again halfway through the movie.
Yeah, that was so stupid.
But at the same time, it's like the only reason why it's slightly better, and I say slightly by like a tiny margin better than Dark Fate, because Dark Fate ultimately is just borrowing from other better Terminator movies.
Okay.
Like, if you've never seen a Terminator movie, I think I could see you truly enjoying Dark Fate. If you had no context of any of the Terminator movies, and I mean nothing. Like,
I feel like even
My
then
mom
you'd
likes
probably
it.
still be like, that was
My mother and my stepdad like it. They're probably the only people who will find who like some of the weirdest or most out there or even bad movies.
I have
But,
family
like,
members that dead ass.
My mom actually likes it.
I have a family member who dead ass liked the M. Night Shyamalan Avatar movie. I'm not even kidding.
Just like liking something and calling it good or
even they don't.
No, I mean, she dead ass thought it was a good movie and didn't understand why me and my friends hated it.
Oh.
And I haven't even seen all of Avatar, and I hated that movie.
Nobody's perfect, so.
It was just thought it was funny. It's like, wait a minute, you like this movie? And literally everyone else like, dude, this was shit.
Has anyone here? Has anyone? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say my stepdad watched the M. Night. Yeah, I was gonna say my stepdad watched that M. Night Shyamalan movie, and even he thought it was horrible, and it made him watch the cartoon. He was like, "What's the cartoon actually like?"
And let me guess, he was like, "Yo, the cartoon is way better."
I'm sorry, I gotta put you on blast for that one,
bruh. Please say psych right now. Please say psych right now.
well,
Lady in the water.
Well, getting back to Dark Fate, and which
my
one's
mom
worse,
loves that
Genesis
one.
and Dark Fate. If you are a Terminator fan, I'm gonna say Dark Fate is worse for one reason and one reason only. We'll do kind of two. One, they kill John Connor in the first 5 minutes.
Also, you don't really have context if you've never seen the other movies.
Yeah,
you wouldn't even have context for that.
Yeah, but even in Genesis, at least they wait a little bit for that to happen. But not only do they kill John Connor the way that they do, but it almost completely undoes the efforts they did in the second movie, and that is just so infuriating.
The first and second movie, when you really think about it.
Oh yeah, the first and second. Sorry, but yeah, I mean, it basically just belittles all the struggle all of them went through, and it does it so callously. So
and.
Genesis, I just feel like you just had a bunch of idiots writing this.
Yeah, so you can't really take it too seriously, but because it's like,
Genesis go ahead.
Like Genesis, I didn't think was malicious with it being bad. I just thought it was like, we have no ideas. Bad, like we just have no ideas.
When did Genesis come out? Because it's very clear they were riding the coattails of the mystery box kind of storytelling. So that was 2005. What came out in 2005?
Genesis did not come out in 2005.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that came out after 2010. Yeah,
2015. I'm sorry.
Oh, that was 2015. Oh,
it's 2015.
Fuck you, J.J. Abrams. Fuck you.
I'm blinded by rage.
But guys, we have to put the mystery box in, and I love how the way they did it was so bad. Like the point where Kyle asked, "Who sent you back?" Arnold goes, "Those files have been erased." It's like, oh, fuck off, movie. I was like in my head, like, oh, fuck off, movie.
Oh, surprise, surprise. Guess what else came out in 2015?
Episode
7.
What?
Oh,
yeah.
Those came out in the same year?
Movies.
Yep.
That was the year that the new Fantastic Four movie came out by John Tran.
Fan Forstick.
Fan Forstick?
Oh.
Yeah. Is it bad that when the first trailer came out, I actually wanted to see that? And I don't know why I wanted to see that.
Yep, 2015. Oh, God, 2015 was a dark time for films.
Holy shit.
Bad. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the year that my life fell apart. And it was brutal.
Oh,
that was I guess it really. Oh no, never mind. Dark Fate came out after. I guess it really was the Dark Fate, but no.
Yeah, 2019. I think Dark Fate came out.
It gave birth to the reboot era. I think it seems like because there's a lot of like 2015 movies. It's like this is just dumb. Why
what year did The Predator come out again?
Let's see.
2018.
Oh God.
I'll never forget that.
Well,
That
I'm
was
gonna let you
awful.
guys know this. A lot of people don't realize this, but the first Disney live action remake, weird whatever bullshit, it was technically actually a sequel, was that Alice in Wonderland movie from like 2012.
Yeah,
I
It was
saw
or
that
like
and I was
2010,
bored
I
out of
think.
my mind with it.
yeah, I remember that. I remember talking to someone about that, where it's like a lot of people don't realize that was
It made
where
a
it started.
billion.
I
It
don't.
Yep.
It made like $1 billion.
Yeah,
And then the
it was
sequel didn't get even close.
That movie was so boring. I don't even remember hating it. I just thought it was boring.
Alice in Wonderland, 2010. We're off topic here, but I just want to look at this real quick, because oh god, I remember this film, and I remember, like Edgy said, I was bored out of my mind.
It was like, hey, you know how Wonderland is
bad.
usually portrayed as this like colorful place? Let's make it gray.
Yeah, gross worldwide.
Let's just
was
make
$1
it
billion.
freaking gray. Let's monochrome this bitch.
Yeah, $1 billion worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah, it really helped with that.
What's funny though, because
It started the trend of
didn't even make
the.
its budget back.
Did it do like that
No,
in
yeah, it
international? 'Cause
did.
that's probably what happened.
Yeah, worldwide, 1 billion. It
Yeah.
didn't even, like, opening weekend. It didn't even make its money back. Like that initial opening weekend. So they,
Ugh.
back to the topic of the Dark Fate though, because have any of you guys played the Terminator game Resistance?
Oh, that's the one that came out semi recently, right?
Yes.
Nope.
I heard it was
I've
really
been
good.
wanting
I
to.
meant to play
It's
it.
actually okay. So I played it right. So I bought it a while ago, and I wanted to play because I love Terminator, and I played it recently, not really for the stream, but just kind of beforehand. And I gotta say that of all the other sequels past T2, that's probably the best Terminator sequel. And it's mostly because it's like it doesn't really touch upon. And it's basically a prequel to Terminator 1 in the sense that it shows the events that led to the time travel plot line. And like basically you play as this separate dude who, I'll admit, the dude is not really that important in terms of like character wise. He's very much like meant for you to kind of.
Does he actually
insert
say
yourself.
anything in the game?
Oh yeah, he talks.
Because I remember watching clips of it and he never spoke. I was like, is he doing the silent protagonist thing?
Oh no, he speaks.
Okay.
But it's very clearly one of those where it's like you're meant to implant yourself into their shoes as opposed to just observing their story. But it basically leads up to the final battle between humanity and Skynet. And in the end, it's like you meet with John Connor and he basically tells you that like we may have destroyed Skynet, but in their final ditch effort, they sent back 3 Terminators to kind of change the effect of the war. The first was the T-800 to kill Sarah Connor. The second was the T-1000 to kill John Connor. And the third one is like one that was sent to kill you specifically. And so if you get a chance, play it. It's the gameplay wise, it's kind of basic. It's kind of just a basic shooter with some scavenging and crafting. It's not too in depth, but I will say if you love Terminator, it's probably the best thing to do, especially how they treat the T-800s. Because one thing I always hate about the future movies is that the T-800s always seem to get weaker and weaker. In this one, these things are a fucking threat. Like, even when you get the weapons to fight them, they're kind of terrifying. Like, there's a few moments where you can't even fight them, but there's still enemies on the field that you just have to avoid.
Yeah, I heard about that. That like in the beginning of the game, you can't actually fight them at all.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that's kind of crazy is that they kind of hint at like where Skynet got the templates for the Terminators, is that it shows they've been kidnapping people and it's like experimenting on them. And when you go into one of the Skynet labs, the person on the chair that they've been experimenting on, like the corpse, it's straight up the human from Terminator 2. Like what's his name?
That.
I
The
keep
actor.
forgetting. Robert Patrick. Like it's straight up like Robert Patrick on like the experimentation table, and it's like, oh shit.
Oh.
But
Damn.
seriously, check it out. It's a fun game. I think they just recently added a DLC where you get to play as the Terminator as well too.
I watched a review of it like
Ooh.
back when it came out, and they gave pretty good reviews. They did say that that you can tell that they were on a budget, but what they pulled off was really good.
Yeah, it's very much for someone who loves Terminator. I wouldn't.
That's
really
what they
suggest
said
for
basically.
anyone-
Like if you like Terminator, you like this game, but for a wider audience, I'm not sure. Don't go in expecting AAA because then
Yeah.
you're probably going to come out disappointed.
Which game is this again?
Terminator Resistance. It's probably on sale. On matter of fact, I can pull up Steam right now. Is it on sale? Because Steam got the summer sale going. Let me see if it's on here.
Is it a run and gun or is it an RPG?
Oh, it's a straight up first person shooter.
It's got RPG elements because
Okay.
it's like you're supposed to scavenge, craft stuff.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any
So-
DLC aside from a comic. I'm looking at the Steam page.
Well,
It is on sale for $23 though.
The
24.
DLC
It
actually.
might be worth checking out.
the DLC
Yeah.
was free, so it might have been like
Would-
an update kind of thing.
Would let's see. I think the closest to something like that I've played would be the action RPG Fallout New Vegas.
Oh,
Is
it's
this
nowhere
game
near that
friendly
yet.
for someone? Who...
It's
Well, I'm
nowhere
just
near
saying,
that
is
yet.
it
From what I've seen,
friendly
it's-
to? I'm saying, would its interface be friendly to me? Because
I would
I'm
say-
not too much into the gunning.
No, it's definitely more gunning.
It looks like it's more of like a shooter game, but you
Ah,
can't
Definitely much
sneak.
more of a shooter.
There is some
Halo.
stealth stuff in there though, from what I remember.
Okay, so it's
It's a very basic kind of shooter. It's not like as in depth as some other shooters. I would say give it a try because it's not that in depth of it, but
Is it at
still
least?
closer to shooter?
Would you say that it's at least as okay as maybe like Doom or something like that?
Oh no, you're right. You're right. Sorry, I'm looking at one of the trailers. They do have the update where you get to play as the
Infiltration mode.
Terminator. Yeah.
Infiltration
it's
mode
free.
or stuff like that.
Okay, that's
I would-
cool.
I would say it's kind of like a you know how like you go onto like the game store and you see like this weird shooter game that's like $20, you never heard of it, and it just looks very generic.
oh yeah.
It's kind of like
That
that.
era.
Like I'm saying, the only plus side to this game is the Terminator universe around it.
Well, that's
Without
that's
that,
still
it's not
worth
really
maybe
worth it.
$23.
Yeah, like for $23, it looks like it's pretty solid. I mean, I'm looking at the
Let me
trailer.
let me put it like this. I remember playing it, and like they don't really tell you that your weapons can't hurt the T-800s. They kind of let you learn that. Like you see one, and you're like, it's like just one, and it's because at first when you first see them, you basically have to run because you have no guns. So then when you finally get weapons and you see one, you're like, all right, you get like the drop it, you start shooting at it, and it just does nothing. And then it tells you, yeah, only such and such weapons will damage the
Yeah, only
Terminator.
laser weapons work on them.
Laser weapons and explosives was the only thing that hurt this thing. And it's just like, well, shit. And I remember there was a time where at some point they become normal enemies. Like even before you get plasma weapons, they become normal enemies. And I was searching a building, and like they were just all over the building. And I was like hiding in one of the bathrooms, and like you can just hear it like stomping around looking for me. And all I had was like an assault rifle. I was like, if he finds me, I'm just gonna book it. I'm just gonna run for it because he's gonna
Guys,
kill
I'm gonna
me.
mute my mic real fast. Gonna take a little smoke. I'm gonna take a smoke break real fast. Just gonna mute my mic.
Okay,
All
then.
right. Well, someone left a negative review and they only played an hour of it, and it just says awful game. That's just it.
There's always those kind of reviews on
And I always
Yeah.
find them funny. It's just like, okay, you're not gonna say why it's awful. Like, what was bad about it?
My favorite is when it's got like 1,000 hours and it just says bad game.
Those are hilarious. It's like, bro, you played this for 1,000 hours. Like, you had to like something about it.
But then again, I mean, like after 1,000 hours, like they should have some kind of strong opinion on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I mean, there are games that I'll play for like 40 minutes, and it's like I have a very strong opinion on this.
It reminds me of like again, we're off track here, but it's like 30 Rock, where like Tracy Morgan is trying to create his own porn game, and he gets that one guy to test it, and he's like, he like plays it. He's like, I played it for a few hours. It's all right. A few hours? You've been gone for 3 days. Oh God, I'm gonna be rich. Like, I've seen people do that where it's like they'll watch something or they'll play it for hours, hours, and it's just like it was all right. It's like I'm sorry, man. After like 10 hours, you don't get to sit here and just be like it's all right. Clearly, something resonated.
I'll be honest. That was me with that's I forgot which anime it was. I was watching it. It was like 50 episodes, and I sat and watched all of it. And then I got to the end, and I was like, that was all right. Like, I was kind of like, why did I watch all of this? Because there were points, there were like huge sections where I was checking out, but I still kept watching it. And then I got to the end, and I was like, okay, maybe it's just slow middle. You know, it might pick it back up again at the end. And it's like, it kind of did, but then I was still kind of just like, how did I watch this? I should have just stopped at like season 1.
I was kind of like that with Dark Fate, where it was kind of like, I swear, if it wasn't for this moment here talking about it, I would not have finished that movie. Like the minute, I'm trying to think, what part did I check out? Like, what part was I like, this is beyond dumb? Oh, you know what? It's actually kind of small. It's the moment where like they're trying to cross the border, and like they get to like this train station, and it's literally got hundreds of Mexicans just on the
train,
I
think I saw that
trying to cross the border. I was like, listen, man, I'm not from Mexico. I've never been there, but I take offense to this. Like, this seems kind of offensive. It's like it's just train full of people just crossing the border, and it's just like when she's like, "We got to get to Texas," and she's like, my uncle can help us." It's like, are you fucking kidding me? This is the angle you're playing with this movie. Like,
yeah, Sarah, I remember seeing like articles about that, and it's like that's a weird angle to go with.
Like Sarah knowing someone who could sneak you across the border, sure, because she's been shown to have like extra like militia kind of connections with people and shit. But just random Mexican girl, like, we need to get, like, Sarah's like, we gotta get across the border, and she's like, my uncle can help us. It's like, really? No one raised their hand and said, maybe someone might take this the wrong way. Anything.
Also, like, didn't they make the Red Knight pretend to be a border agent or something?
Yeah, he's like a border agent. Okay, so, oh god, that reminds me of another thing that pissed me off. So, like, the scene where he's walking through the metal detector, and like, first of all, he walks through it and it sets it off.
Yeah.
And like, so I'm like,
he makes a joke or something. He's like, my whole body's a weapon or something like that.
Yeah. First of all, like, if he sets off the metal detector, so clearly he's still metal. Why? How did he come through the time machine?
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. That is a problem.
Why is he cracking jokes?
My whole maybe Legion has a sense of humor. I mean, he did orchestrate everything that went on. After all,
I mean, if they explained it like that, then maybe. But they don't really explain it, and he even says it in a joking way too, like all cocky, like my whole body's a weapon. Now it'd be funny if he kind of just said it monotone, like he's not really lying, he's just stating a fact, kind of like how Arnold did in like Terminator 1, where he's like, I'll be back. Like he was being serious. He'll be right back.
Yeah, he's like, I'll be back. It's like, yeah, he was back real quick with a freaking car.
So like I could see that, but no, he's literally like walking through the detector. It's like my whole body's a weapon. And then like, I guess you could say like maybe it was part of the infiltration, but at the same time, why did he set off the metal detector? Like, you think he would have avoided that? Because what if that guard was like, oh no, you're not coming through here. You just set off the entire metal detector. We're gonna search you, man.
He's like, bruh. No, they search him and then they can't find anything. He goes through again. It still sets it off. And like, what the fuck?
And like he says, like, oh, he's got like a metal hip. And
yeah, or he's like, I got a metal plate in like my arm or something. That's probably what's setting it off.
I've worked situations like that. They're not gonna just take your word on that. They're gonna scan you. They're gonna run the metal detect, like the handheld metal detector, by your body part that says that, and they're gonna see if that's somewhat true.
Yeah, and then they're probably gonna realize, no, that's not just his arm.
So, dude, it's almost like you're a cyborg, and then he just starts killing them.
Yeah, he's just like, okay, I'm gonna actually kill you.
Why did you go in here stealthily? Just kill them all.
Yeah, like Arnold would have just been like, okay, I'm just gonna get the grenade launcher, just blow the checkpoint up, keep going.
Honestly, as powerful as he is in that film, up until they run into the T-800, he should have done that. Like, who could have stopped him?
I mean, hell, he could have one instance of him just attack them head on, have the other one just sneak up and kill him.
I mean, honestly, yeah.
That's what I would do if I could just if I had like a spare me running around. It's like, okay, I'll deploy you. You go sneak around behind them. I'm gonna get their attention.
But like in that early,
I still can't get over the rideable Terminator bike.
Yeah, that is funny.
And I always picture like maybe the Terminators have like a pecking order, like the T-800s and they're like the top of the food chain.
The pecking order.
But the HKs, like the giant HKs, they don't give a shit. Like,
yeah, the HK is like, we're gonna blow everything up. Fuck it.
But then you have the Moto Terminator.
Terminator High School. Killing those humans.
Oh god, the HK just copied on the other, Terminators up against the wall.
Yeah, the T-800s are the most basic bitches. The T-1000 is the super jock, and then
the TIX is the super hot girl that like the valedictorian.
Oh
or something. I
god!
don't fucking know.
Dude, you gonna ask out the Terminatrix to Terminator prom?
Basically.
No man,
oh my god,
I ain't got a term of chance with her.
Okay, so the T-800 is the jock. The T-1000 is like he's like the golden child.
A nerd.
He's also like no. No, he's the school shooter because he's the creepiest of them all.
Oh no, wow.
He's the creepiest of them all, and he's technically more dangerous than the jock. He's technically more dangerous than the jock. The Terminatrix is the prom queen. All the T-600s, they're just like the nerds. And then you have the Red Line, who's the fucking exchange student.
Ah. Okay, that's funny.
Wait. There's there's a few other exchange students too, like Lady Terminator from the Philippines.
No, she's just like Oh, I'm trying to. You talking about like Grace, right?
Doesn't she have like a snake in her pussy? No, I'm talking about a literal movie called Lady Terminator, and it's like a Filipino movie. Like she's like some cursed woman who had like a snake in her pussy, and like she keeps coming back and killing men. Like it's called Lady Terminator.
Holy shit, she's not lying.
Oh wow!
I just remember there's a movie called Teeth. I just remember that. It is that movie Teeth. When a lady has like teeth.
Yeah.
Lady Terminator
down there.
is a 1988 Indonesian horror fantasy action film directed by I don't know how to pronounce this name.
Oh wow!
I'm trying to see the okay. Oh, hold on a sec.
Wow, one of the scenes looks like it's actually ripped off from Terminator 1, the cop killing scene.
Oh boy!
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Okay, let me.
Oh, it's.
Oh, so
you should bring it. You should bring it up on screen. You should. Yeah.
It's like the poster or something.
There you go.
Yeah, the one in the picture at the upper right. Can you go up a little? Yeah, click that one. Yeah, that's the one that looks like it's taken directly from the cop scene.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. You're not even.
All right, so she's the other foreign exchange student.
Yeah, she's straight.
Yeah,
she's straight up
there's the opening scene where she's a goddess.
No.
Yeah, it's got something to do with the vengeful goddess.
She's not the exchange student. She's just the student that's from the Philippines because her mom is from the Philippines and her dad's in the Navy. Because that's usually how that shit goes.
Yeah, that's usually how that goes. You know.
Well, I think they said. Said it was an Indonesian movie, not a Filipino.
Indonesian, yeah, you're right. I did just read that. So yeah, she is the exchange student. But Jesus.
Oh, she's just the Indonesian student.
The Indonesian Terminator. That's how they make Terminators in Indonesia.
It's
lady
like
with
Top 3
venomous snakes.
I kind of want to see.
Oh, fun fact about Terminator 3. Originally, at one point, they were considering Vin Diesel as the Terminator. With Terminator 3, then someone was like, why don't we make the Terminator a girl?
Like, to be fair, the female Terminator as like it's underutilized, but it is still an original concept at the very least.
It wasn't like a bad deal. I was thinking how funny would it be to have Vin Diesel fighting Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, how funny would that be?
It's one thing I'll say.
What if he still wore the
mistakes? What?
Yeah.
I was gonna say one of the biggest.
I was just gonna say Vin Diesel in the red suit.
In the red leather suit.
Oh my
skin
god!
tight.
Yes, the one that the Terminator was. Yes.
They came out. This would probably be Vin Diesel before he kind of got like, I don't mean to insult Vin Diesel, but yeah, before he got like his face got like swollen looking and stuff like in the newer movies. Because I was watching Chronicles of Riddick and I was like, man, his face like bloated over the years. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know if that's just age or something else going on.
I think he's got it. I don't know about. I'm only saying I don't know about roids if it's that case because like.
Yeah, I don't know. I legit don't know what happened to him.
But one thing I'll say, I think one of the biggest mistakes the Terminator series had going forward past 2 is the continued use of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Because each time he shows up, he's less threatening than what he was in the previous film. Like in T2, it makes sense because he's not meant to be that threatening. He's meant to be the good guy. But when you get to T3, it's like, bless you.
Sorry.
He's literally wearing stripper clothes. Like no one addresses that. He's wearing a stripper's outfit.
And he goes to talk to the hand. They tried to make him funny.
Yeah, and then like
Genesis, I forgot about that.
Salvation was probably the best because it's like he only shows up at the end, and it's just essentially the T-800 with the fake skin.
Yeah, it was basically a cameo, but like not even because he wasn't actually there.
And to me, that was probably the best use of Arnold post T2.
Yeah.
Then you got Genesis, where he's literally just exposition dump and just dad jokes.
Yep.
Dad.
And it's so goddamn cringy.
Cellular level. Cellular level. However the hell he fucking says that.
And then you have goddamn Dark Fate, where he's selling fucking curtains and drapes.
Yeah, and he's like
Mateo
married and like raising a kid. It's like this is a robot, right?
Also, can I just say like how fucked up it is that they basically present him as being like the perfect husband, and so it's like you're basically saying the perfect husband is a machine who doesn't really think for himself,
and he doesn't have sex.
Well,
I call bullshit. I call bullshit.
You're telling me at no point in this woman's life she ever tried to have sex with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
To be fair, it's like you have to be very careful with doing that, considering he's a freaking robot.
But I'm saying she doesn't know that though.
No, she doesn't. I'm just saying that was like she would have to get used to being the top. And like,
on that robot.
That's another thing that kind of pissed me off.
She'd have to get used to that because the other way it's going to end in a hospital trip.
Because they even acknowledge it. It's like, you've been together for 20 years, and not once she ever noticed you weigh 400 pounds and never sleep. And he's just like, yeah. It's like, bullshit, man. Bullshit for 20 years, no one noticed you not sleep. Like, what do you do? Do you just...
No, my family knows when I don't sleep.
Like, does he even lay in the
gamer.
Bed? Does he even sleep in the bed?
Yeah, because it's like he wouldn't need to sleep, like, ever.
Like, does he just lay there and pretends to sleep? Does she not, like, snuggle on him? Because that's just, like, a basic human thing. Like, bullshit, this woman in 20 years never tried to have sex with you. It's so dumb that they, like, they don't know he's a Terminator. Like, they should have known.
And then they have a dog, too, and I think, and it's like, why isn't the dog freaking the fuck out?
And he's, like, sitting there petting the dog. Yeah. Like, that's bullshit.
It's like they didn't even watch the first fucking movie. It's like they just read some. It's free on YouTube, people. Hell, I think we can riff it if we want.
No, it's on preview.
No, it's free on YouTube. So is Salvation.
No. Oh, Salvation. I thought you meant Dark Fate.
Well, I said I said Salvation also.
Oh, because Dark Fate, I tried to watch online, and it's like they had it on YouTube, and I was like, okay, I'll watch it on here, and then it was like, rent for this amount, and I was like, fuck no, I'm not renting this. not paying
No,
money
no,
for this.
the original Terminator. The
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
original Terminator is for free, and so is Salvation.
Is that like free with ads?
Yes, free with
Probably.
ads. I'm looking at
free
it
with
right
ads.
now.
That's
Okay.
that's fine. That's fine.
Terminator 1, Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation.
Notice T2
USF
isn't
5
there
They ain't
because
give
they
you-
know.
They ain't giving you T2 for free.
Because they know.
Also, I think it's funny how like Dark Fate
Nice.
has like, what's his name? It's got like James Cameron as like, I think he's like the producer.
Yeah, and
on
I
it.
got the guy who did Deadpool.
Oh
is-
yeah.
But I'm thinking like James Cameron was probably like, I'm done with this shit. Here's a script.
Yeah,
Here's
James
some
Cameron
money.
wants to do
Yeah.
like 5 Avatar movies for no reason that no one wants.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
like, this man's probably like, he probably did this so he could get those 5 Avatar movies. They probably told him, you'll get your Avatar movies the minute you give us another Terminator. And he's like, fine.
It's too bad I can't show videos. While I was looking for the Terminator movie, I found how Terminator Dark Fate should have ended. That's got to be interesting.
Oh my god! I watched that
The
now.
movie
That's
shouldn't have they should have ended on the in the pitching room.
Yeah.
Should we make this movie? No.
No.
That's a good idea. Dun 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 dun.
But that one
dun,
person
dun,
is just
dun.
like this franchise has suffered enough, all right? Like, just stop.
Guys, listen up. We just had a major flop when it comes to Terminator Genesis. What should we do next? Another flop. Brilliant.
Yeah.
What if
Okay,
we took
so
Terminator
guys,
Genesis?
this is gonna be a little complicated. I actually know some of the rights issues.
Uh-oh.
Well,
I didn't know
Like
there were
every
rights
time,
issues with
every
Terminator.
time it flop. Well, I mean, okay, so the reason why there are so many damn Terminator movies is because a company would make it, but because filmmaking can be really expensive on really small production companies, the production company would shut down, and then part of the rights would actually go up. And one of James Cameron's friends would come in and snag up the rights and be like, "Hey James, I'm going to make this movie. You want to help me and endorse it?" Like, I'll just endorse it. He has literally gone on record saying he will endorse something to at least help his friends make a few bucks. So it's like, okay, I'll endorse it. And then, it's like, oh, we're going to make a new Terminator movie. There's going to be a new franchise and blah, 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 and all that. It's got James Cameron's endorsement. And then the thing fucking flops. And then part of those rights go up for sale. And then somebody else buys the rights and goes, "Hey, James Cameron, you're my friend. Can you give me the blessing? We're going to make a whole new franchise." Okay. And this has happened 3 fucking times.
Yeah, I noticed that.
3 times this has happened.
Yeah, because like this is at least from this. I'm looking at IMDb. It's like they don't have him credited as anything, like any like crew wise. So he probably just said like, "Oh yeah, I give this my seal of approval." But then like when you get to Genesis, it has like based on characters created by James Cameron, which none of the other films have that, which I think is kind of weird. And then you get to Dark Fate where it has like based on characters made by and him under producer and story writer. But also keep in mind there's another 4 writers on this too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a bunch
with Dark Fate, I know they keep trying to say, "Oh, he had more involvement. He had more involvement." No, his involvement was his involvement is always a half-hearted thumbs up to try to help his friends make money.
There's probably like, "Hey, James, how does this look?" And he's like, "Good."
Yeah, whatever.
Oh wait, hold on. I just remembered something. Didn't James Cameron leave the movie before it was finished, showing the kind of errors that the creators just couldn't agree on anything, so he left early. So it's one of those times where he gave his endorsement at first, but it was going in such a bad direction. He's like, "Nope, fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Good luck."
Probably like again, I'm not trying to excuse James Cameron because I don't know what his full involvement was, but I wouldn't be surprised if like they told him it was gonna be a direct sequel to T2, and that got him on board. And then as time went on, it became very clear that this wasn't a real sequel to T2, and that kind of probably was like, all right, no, we're not doing this because this isn't T3. This is a reboot essentially.
This is T 2.5.
Yeah, he was like, I've been lied to.
I am tired of the lies and the deception.
But then he's like, shit, I gotta market this. I gotta help market this shit.
Oh, no. You know what probably happened? He's probably like, Fox is like, hey, James, we want your endorsement on and help with the Terminator Dark Fate. It's gonna be a sequel to T2, and he's like, all right, I'm on.
And they're like, it's gonna ignore everything that happened after T2. It's like, oh shit, okay, all right, word.
As time went on, he noticed how like shit it was getting. And then Fox was like, listen, you either help us finish this or help us with this, or you ain't getting another Avatar. And he's like, very well.
He sighs and just goes, ah.
And then there was like,
camera.
And then he was like, when he got 5 avatars, I was all right, that's enough. I can leave now.
What is he doing? Is he literally breeding Na'vi to create his movie? Is that what's taking him so fucking long? He's genetically engineering the Na'vi?
I don't know, because they announced that movie like years ago.
To train them to be actors.
Yeah, they announced like all of them maybe years ago.
Yeah, they were supposed to come out years ago, and then it's like, I thought they had canceled, and they keep bringing it back. It's like, dude, like you didn't strike what the iron was hot on that.
On his page, it's got Avatar 2,
I'm gonna
3, 4, and 5.
I'm going to assume that he's already bred the Na'vi, but it's taking them forever to learn how to act.
Does anyone even want an Avatar sequel? Like, I'm not even trying to be an asshole.
I'm sure there's somebody out there who enjoys it because the movie's not terrible.
Like, it's not a bad movie. It's just not a movie I think you really... I'd like that screams, oh, I need a sequel to this. It's
one of the few movies where, like, I watched it and I was like, I don't need to watch this again, and I don't mean that in a good way.
Okay, when I first watched it, like I liked it, and I watched it a couple times after that. But like after like the third or fourth time, I was like, this is all right. I mean, I like the world building stuff, but that's it, really.
You know what it is? I remember, I remember going to see it with some friends, and then like sometime later, we had like a dollar theater, and it was playing there. And, you know, the movies are there for $1, and someone was like, hey, you want to go see it? And I just sat there and was like, thinking, like, no. Like, no. I just don't want to go see it again. Like, there was nothing, like, I wasn't angry. I wasn't annoyed. I was just like, no, I don't want to see it again. There's nothing more for me to gain by watching it again. Like, there's nothing extra. There's no, like, little details for me that I missed and might catch on to. It was just like I didn't feel that urge to view it again.
Yeah, it's kind of those movies that like everyone liked it when it came out, and then it just kind of...
Well, because it was like one of the most visually appealing movies of all time at the moment.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, it was like the movie that pretty much... It was basically the reason why every movie afterwards became 3D.
Even though 3D is really like... That 3D is really like not even that good. It's expensive, yeah, and it's like it's not even that good unless you're very close to the screen.
Like I'm gonna say this.
I also blame Alice in Wonderland.
I'll say this.
Oh yeah, that too.
I blame that one again.
And I don't just mean 3D as in like Avatar 3D. I'm talking like you open a comic book and in the back you got the red and blue goggles. They like put these on, and
I remember seeing movies with those.
Like I'm gonna tell you something. As someone who grew up in that era,
I had a Jurassic Park poster
and stuff like that. 3D has always been a fucking gimmick.
It has.
It's always been a gimmick. Even when executed properly, it's a gimmick because it does nothing to the story at all.
Yeah,
it's just like
at least with the red and blue, like shit is actually coming out of the screen at you.
And even then, like it hurts your eyes.
But yeah, that's the problem. It hurts your eyes, and also it makes the image look. It makes the movie look weird as hell.
You can't even read it without it. Like, well, not properly, at least.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to remember movies I saw in 3D. I saw Toy Story 3 in 3D. That was that was interesting. That was more of like an environmental, textural.
I saw Transformers 3 in 3D. Oh, that's right. Judge Dredd wasn't. They did have a 3D in that.
I will say this.
Yeah,
Dredd did a
it
good
was in
job
3D
because of the slow-mo.
Yeah. I didn't see the movie in 3D. I saw it on DVD.
Jackass 3D was the best I ever saw a movie utilize the 3D camera of that era.
Really?
You know, it was a movie that.
Wow, that is surprising.
Yeah.
You know, it's a movie that had the 3D, and I was surprised that it actually was pretty decent. I saw Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2 in 3D, and I think it's because I was sitting because like it was fucking sold out. Surprise, but it was basically sold out, and the only place I have like front seats. And there, like the 3D is actually like, okay, this is coming out of the screen now. Like particle effects is actually coming out of the screen. It's like, okay, this works.
Oh god, Harry Potter.
Especially the scene when Voldemort's like dissolving. Like when Voldemort's dissolving at the end, it's like the paper flakes are flying out of the screen. That's kind of cool. I don't know if it was like that for everyone like in the back or anything. It might not have been.
Honestly, I can't even think of what other movies in 3D I've watched. Like I know I've seen 3D stuff before, but I've seen Avatar.
I've seen a couple of the Resident Evil movies in 3D.
I did see. Okay, I think I did see at least one of those in 3D. But you know what's one movie I know for a fact I saw in 3D?
What?
Spy Kids 3D.
What?
I did. I saw that too. What else have I seen in 3D?
Also, side tangent. Spy Kids 3D, one of the most ambitious crossovers in history. Infinity War, eat your heart out because you got nothing on Spy Kids 3D. You had the Spy Kids. You had fucking Machete. You had who else was in that movie?
You had Sylvester Stallone as the villain.
Sylvester Stallone was in it. Fucking Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi was in the first one too. To be
fair,
he was in the third one.
Yeah, he was in the first one too. That's what I'm saying. Like he was.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the third one introduced every character who was in like Spy Kids 1 and 2 was basically in 3.
Yeah.
Fucking Sylvester. George
Elijah
Clooney.
Wood was in it also.
Oh yeah, he was the guy that was on the cover of the game. Then it dies immediately after blowing up the door.
On the cover. He was the guy.
The guy, yeah.
That was his name, the guy. And he walks through the door. And it's like cake, and just dies.
Just dies immediately. He had like 100 lives too. Just instantly.
You get to sit there and see them all just tick away, and it's like, this is actually kind of brutal.
Yeah, I was like, damn. And then the grandpa's like, no, I freed the toy maker so I could get revenge on him for putting me in a wheelchair. Right. Which is like, that's really dark when you think about it.
His grandfather was Khan. I kept saying, I know I've seen the grandfather somewhere. He played Khan in Star Trek Wrath of Khan.
Shit, you're right. That dude was Khan. Oh, wow.
And I remember like
Carlo Montalban?
I think that's enough.
I think that's his name. But God, I remember I remember in retrospect, it's like, that's a really dark side story. Like, the grandpa's in a wheelchair, has been in a wheelchair ever since he was introduced in the second movie. And, like, you get to the third movie, and you find out the main villain is the guy that put him in a wheelchair. As a kid, you don't really piece that together as being, like, a serious thing. But as you get older, it's like, dude,
that's freaking dark.
That's intense. And then, like, it's implied the entire time that he's doing a lot of this for revenge. But then in the end, you find out that, like, I did all of this. I released you from your prison, yada, 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 just to tell you, I forgive you. And, like, again, Spy Kids, it's a dumb, stupid kids movie. But holy crap, man, did that not give me some kind of feels? Like,
yeah, I love the scene where he's telling where the grandpa doesn't want to go back to the real world because he doesn't have his legs.
Yeah, he gives like a whole speech saying, like, I can't dance with my wife. I can't
walk
my daughter down the aisle. And you took that from me, and it's like, oh my god.
And then he tells the grandson, it's like, okay, I'll go back to the real world if you promise to look up to me the way you do right now out there. And I was like, damn, that was like, this movie wasn't good, but damn, that was actually kind of deep.
It's one moment I remember very well, and it's not from Spy Kids 3, it's from another film. I think it's whichever one they go to that island full of like the monsters.
Where the wild things are.
The second one.
Yeah, I think it's the second one where the guy Steve Buscemi, where he created a bunch of like hybrid animals.
I think that was Spy Kids 2, where they have
Spy
that.
Kids 2, where he talks about like how he created them, and now he's trapped on his own island, surrounded by his own creations, in fear of them. And then he has this really deep philosophical moment where he's like,
I know what you're talking
"Do you
about.
think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?" And it's like, nigga, this is a kids movie.
It's like, bro, why are
This
we
is a
getting
goddamn
deep
kids
over
movie.
here? This is getting too real now.
Like, I want to call the studios. Like, listen, you gotta give me a refund on this movie. My son's having an existential crisis.
Yes, my son is on antidepressants because of this movie now.
He thinks Jesus won't come back to Earth because of humanity's atrocities.
Yeah, that was. It's just the way he says it too that makes it you funny because it kind of just comes out of nowhere.
And he says it so sincere too, and it's like, and he's got a good point. Like, he's literally created these creatures. He didn't create them for any malicious intent, and now here they are trying to kill him.
And he's just terrified of him. He's like, I can't.
The very things
I can't
I
with
created
this.
are trying to kill me. So back to Terminator.
Do you think the Terminators stay in the future because they're afraid of us? I was about to say, are you ready to wrap this up? Because I noticed we're no longer talking about Terminator. I noticed like Terminator is not as easy to fill like 3 hours like with Alien.
Well, because I think what it is that like, and this was a point I was gonna make too, is that like when it comes to like Predator, Alien, and Terminator, is like, say what you will about some of the later movies, like when it comes to like Predator 1, 2, Predators, The Predator, Alien, AVP, there's still like some kind of enjoyment to get out of them, and like the quality, it does dip, but they're usually not such a harsh dip like some cases. With Terminator, you go from what is easily Terminator 1, which is a great film, Terminator 2, which is considered one of the best films ever made, and then it just nosedives from there.
Well, you got nowhere else to go but down at that point.
That is
okay,
true.
so I guess we could probably wrap up with asking, like, where is your cutoff?
Yeah, where's your cutoff? Try your best not to say T2, just because of the fact that that's like the obvious answer.
Okay.
3's got a good ending.
Yeah, I mean, not wrong. 3's ending was really good.
Yeah, 3's a good way to kind of like
my cutoff's
the
3.
future war. Go ahead. You know, let's go. We'll start over. We'll go with Jay, and then we'll go around.
Yeah, I got to say that it's probably 3, and I kind of see it as like an extra story or a side story. Like, what if there was an actual extra Terminator or something like that? I see T2 as the definitive canon, but if I was asked, would T3 be an interesting movie at the very least? Yeah, kind of, because we actually, spoiler alert, 3 decades later, it shows what happens if what do you call it? If Judgment Day actually happened. So I kind of respect that and dig it. Also, heads up, I do like the video games.
Oh, that's right. There were like a few games that were set like in either during T3 or after T3.
Yeah, most of them were like arcade games. I know those are like the more prevalent ones.
The one for Salvation, the arcade game, that was pretty fun. It's hard as hell, though.
I remember that. It was. I played that one and the Alien one. They were very similar titles.
Yeah.
All right, so Edgy, where's your cutoff?
Probably same company.
Terminator.
My cutoff would be Salvation because 3 is also a good spot to go with, but the reason I'm saying Salvation is because Salvation was the only one that didn't just make a chase flick again, like 1 through 3. Not saying that 1 and 2 were bad with that, but it's like you had 2 movies of great chase flick, and then 3 was like okay chase flick, and then Salvation wasn't that. It was trying to do something different, and it showed us more stuff, and it also shows like the first win against Skynet, I guess, because they blow up that one facility, and John Connor saying Skynet globally is still a thing. So it kind of shows that, okay, humans might be starting to win this at least a little bit. And I just think that's a good place to just stop.
All right, Soggy, where's your cutoff for Terminator?
Definitely 3. I know Salvation's an interesting side story, but I haven't really sat down and gave it the time to watch it. So my cutoff is 3. I believe its ending saves it. I believe if it didn't have its ending, I wouldn't be able to sit through it. Plus, also,
I'm
you
kind of
gotta
in the
love
same
the
boat
her
with
boobs
3.
got bigger.
That is unironically a great moment. Like, well, it is ironically great. It's like, it's so dumb, it's fun. Because
Yeah, it's just
like,
funny.
technically, that is what an infiltrator would do. It's like, humans are sexual animals. Let's appeal to the sexual nature. Yo, officer, you're gonna be distracted by these titties.
You know, I was like, you ain't gonna be writing me no ticket.
Like, they have the Terminators have detailed fires on human like anatomy and psychology. They know. She didn't just decide that. It's like, this is gonna work.
They know we're horny.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that she basically
send us all to
implied
horny
that she
jail.
killed him. Like, it'd be funny if like she like literally used him to get out of the ticket and never killed him, trying to keep her presence to a minimum until she
kill
found her
count
targets.
low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, my cutoff is I'm not gonna say the video game because that is kind of my cutoff, but you know that's not really a film, so I don't want to have a cop out. I would say my cutoff is Terminator Salvation as well, but without Terminator 3. Like, say Salvation was just a prologue to the future war. Like, say like this is the timeline where Judgment Day happens, and it leads up to them sending the Terminators and Kyle Reese back in time. Or at least this is the story that leads to that. That's fine by me. Because T3 seemed a little too cynical for my taste, in the sense that, like, yeah, you guys did all this in T2 to stop Judgment Day, but all you did was delay it. Like, to me, it's like, that kind of makes everything that happened in T2 seem kind of for waste, in my opinion. But
moot.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah, kind of. That is something that did bug me. That's just the whole point was that they were saying like the future wasn't set in stone.
I mean,
the ending was fine. It was just the fact that they were just like, oh no, you only delayed it. It's gonna happen regardless.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Like, if the movie ends with, at the very least, it hinted at like John getting his hands on like the T-800 skull and chip, and saying like, I want to see if we can do something with this, and hinting at like the reprogramming of it.
Yeah.
And then that leads to the whole, like, they reprogrammed it to send it back in time.
You can even say it was hinting at finding a weakness to how John is able to lead humans to beat Skynet too.
Yeah, and I also like how I know this seems kind of silly, but I like how they gave him his scar, and it's from the T-800.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't even
nice
notice.
Touch.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that is nice.
And I like Marcus, like the human Terminator. I like him. He's not the best character, obviously, but I enjoyed him.
He was kind of the weakest part of the movie because the whole plot with Skynet and him was like, this really seems needlessly complicated to kill John Connor.
Like, in his mind, he literally died and woke up at the end of the world, and he took it rather well.
Yeah, he did, honestly.
He walked out, saw the LA skyline completely decimated by nuclear war, and he was just like, well, shit. like something, man, anything. Like, just freaking out. Like, what the hell happened?
Well, he did
here?
freak out when he first crawled out of the ground. He did straight up scream, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but I felt like that was more of the shock of just waking up as opposed to the shock of the world. As far as he knew, he was just in the middle of nowhere.
I don't know why, but I kind of just thought of like the scenes in like the Wolverine movies where Wolverine's just wakes up screaming. That was my first thought with that scene.
I think of the scene where, like, in the Wolverine where he survives the nuke and he's just like all burnt up and he's just like healing.
Yeah.
Ooh, excuse me. All right, so I'm not gonna go like last time, because last time we stayed over like almost 2 hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here.
All right.
It's been real, you guys. I appreciate you guys coming on to what essentially was probably the saltiest stream, where we
that
kind of
was pretty salty.
we just ragged on Dark Fate for a good 2 hours.
I mean, it's not like the movie didn't deserve it, to be fair.
Oh yeah, it totally deserved it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Anybody says that movie was not great. Yeah, I appreciate you all coming on. I appreciate everyone who watched this is going to watch it. Thank you for not making my suffering of rewatching Dark Fate be for naught.
We're here for you, man. We were definitely here for you.
Yeah, that was when I saw that, I was like, oh shit, he's gonna be pissed.
And it started off so great too. T1, T2, I was enjoying my time, and then yeah.
That was just the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, Genesis kind of like it didn't help. Like I knew what I was in for when I got to the end. Like after Salvation, it was like, oh god, I know what comes next, and I don't like it already.
I just remember. I actually have one funny story about when I first saw the trailer for Genesis in the theater. No one was taking it seriously. Everyone was laughing. And there's a part at the end of the trailer where they play the original, the iconic Terminator thing, the beat at the end. And like it's when Arnold goes, "I'll be back," and then he jumps out of the helicopter and headbutts the other helicopter. Right when it went to black, someone in the audience did the Arnold yell with the and everyone just lost their minds laughing.
Because
that was the end of the movie.
Trailer seriously.
No, it's the end of the trailer, and I remember that. I remember that trailer. I remember him looking at the camera saying, "I'll be back," and
then
like and
what's
I was
her
just
name?
like, "Did he?"
Amelia Clark is like, "What?" And then he jumps out of the helicopter, and somehow flies into the other helicopter. And it just cuts to black.
In the movie?
Yes, it is.
It
is 100% real.
I remember that scene. He does that. He straight out just dive bombs into another helicopter, and it's just like
it's the one John is chasing them in, which I'm like, how the hell did you do that?
Also, like
when he was right behind you, so wouldn't you be falling down and missing him?
Like every use of "I'll be back" after T2 is egregious.
Yeah, it really is.
Like it's almost even when it shows up in like T3 Salvation, it's like, did you really just say that?
Wait, did he say it in Salvation? Was there an "I'll be back" in Salvation?
Yes, there's a part where like John Connor is like going to save Kyle Reese and tell the men, "I'll be back."
Oh god!
And I'm literally
I forgot
just
about
like,
that.
I remember seeing it, and I was just like, "Nigga, you did not."
I remember in T3 there's a part where Arnold, like when he crashes the helicopter, and he steps out of the helicopter, and he's like hit the Terminator, he goes, "I'm back," and I was just like, God damn it, Arnold.
Oh god. But
he's like, "I'm back."
In Salvation's defense, technically speaking, this is still technically the young dorky kid from T2. So I like to think somewhere deep inside him that dorky kid was still there. And he was just spouting that one-liner for that shit, just for the sake of that.
At least he did.
All right.
At least he didn't say "Hasta la vista, baby" to his
Honestly, that would have been
leaving.
better. Honestly, that would have been better.
That would have been freaking hilarious, at least.
What do you want me to
calling his church babies? Hasta la vista, babies.
Just imagine Christian Bale saying that line like in the Batman voice.
Imagine, so you know at the end of Salvation, so it doesn't make a lick of sense in this context now that I think about it, but at the end of Salvation, when Marcus, the human Terminator, is like tearing off the head of the T-800, it would have made no sense for him to say it, but I would call this the greatest Terminator movie ever if he, as he was tearing off that thing's head, and he just looks it in the eyes and just says, "Hasta la vista, baby." Snap.
No, John says it right after he rips the head off. John is like half dying and just like wakes up enough to say that and then goes back to dying.
The head rolls next to him dying and he's like, "Hasta la vista, baby."
And then he just passes out.
All right, that's where we cut it. That's where we end.
Okay. All right, yeah, that's a good place to cut it.
Right.
I think that's the funny ending.
Have a good night, folks. Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah, y'all have a good night. Thanks for having us on.
Thanks.
Night, babies.